Hello, everybody. Welcome to another DCU Daily. Hello, hello. I hope everyone in good old America had a wonderful Thanksgiving, but we're back. We are back with our double header episodes for today, one for DCU Daily, and then, of course, the other for Fancast Friday, where we will be talking about 5 movies that Edgar Wright should direct in the DCU, as well as 3 honorable mentions. So, with all of that, we're going to get into that after the show. But for the meantime, we're going to get into a bunch of things that maybe be interesting, maybe not. But we are going to be getting into Thanksgiving news in terms of the Thanksgiving Day Parade, because that broke some records. And then we're going to be talking about the box office so far, as well as projections for this upcoming weekend. And then, of course, MCU Weekly, as always. And then I'm going to get into a review for the movie that we are going to be talking about, and that's Zootopia 2. I did see it earlier this afternoon, and I really wanted to talk about it. So that's what we will be doing with that. And, of course, we have our quick hits, which I know especially someone like Caleb loves. So we are going to be talking about our quick hits again. And then, of course, DCU Daily. We have quick hits for those. We have so many quick hits. We have quick hits first. We're going to talk about some Superman stuff, some Lantern stuff, and then a big update in regards to James Gunn. He released something on Twitter. And then, of course, Supergirl at CCXP. We're going to talk about what this means. Are we going to get a trailer? Are we not? So, of course, all of that and more after this wonderful intro telling us that we are all indeed enough.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number 2.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
Robert
You're
Downey.
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Yellow. Welcome back, everyone, to DCU Daily. I am, of course, your host, as always, John. Here we are. But today, for the first time in a long time, I am not alone. Making his grandiose return, we have Dan. Dan is in the chat, guys.
Oh, hello. Hello, everybody.
Dan, how are you
Thanksgiving.
doing today? You've been a very busy bee, but we're glad you're back. How are you doing on this wonderful end to the week?
I'm doing great. Yeah, yeah, Caleb and I still got some beef. I mean, I had, chicken, turkey and chicken. I don't know. I don't know what you had. Did you have beef, Caleb? That's not usually what people have on Thanksgiving. I'm doing okay. I'm actually, for the first time in a while, not on Zelda Watch today, so that's why I'm here. So,
Goody.
taking
Goody.
a
And
slight break.
also, I have not watched Stranger Things just yet, so don't spoil anything in the chat. I'm going to try my best, keyword try, to watch the
spoilers,
newest bit of the last season. So, but
Hello, Emo Nerd Girl, and of course Monique as well.
that's a good choice. I rewatched. Well, they already started it because I was busy prepping the show, but I did watch a little bit again of the newest Naked Gun with the fam. So they my sister really enjoyed it. My dad enjoyed it. My mom doesn't like comedies like that. But we all enjoyed that, so that's what I watched today. In addition to Zootopia 2, which was earlier in the afternoon. Lots of rambunctious children in that one. But they apologized at the end, so it was okay.
Fan. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, hello to everybody in the chat. We got Acres of Movies, aka Stacy here. Swag Fan is here, of course. Michael Gutierrez. I guess YouTube is still doing that thing where they go back and forth between usernames and display names. It's like it recently flipped the other way again. But anyway,
Whatever it is. But, as of course you all know, well, some of you know, at least, people on our continent, we had Thanksgiving yesterday and, well, soon to be 2 days ago on the East Coast, but we had Thanksgiving yesterday. And
good.
apparently the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which is celebrating its 99th parade, hits all-time viewership record for NBC and Peacock. So
Some
this
ridiculous
is
numbers.
Thanksgiving
Yeah.
tradition in many households, not many, and apparently many more. And and apparently that gobbles up the record, very cute Hollywood Reporter, of 34.3 million viewers across NBC and Peacock. NBC's live airing alone topped 25 million viewers. So, Dan, is this a tradition in your household to watch the Thanksgiving Day Parade or no?
Sometimes it's not. I wouldn't call it a tradition. It's more like, yeah, I would love to. Like, it's recorded, regardless. So I have YouTube TV, so it's sitting there. We watched a little. I didn't get a chance to watch much of it because yesterday I spent. I'll keep the story short, but I drove up from New Jersey to Connecticut yesterday morning, so that took 3 or so hours, and then I had to drop off my dad at the. The reason I'm up here is because I had to drop off my dad at the airport in Boston. So that was another couple of hours to do that. Now, throughout that whole process, I didn't have a chance to really watch a lot of it, but I'm not surprised because everybody back in New Jersey for me, they were watching it. My mom watched a little bit of it. We have got it recorded. So
That's
yeah,
what happens. We all wake
it's
up
a big
so late
tradition.
at this point that we have to
It's
record it because
yeah.
then we'll start watching, and then we will watch it on a tape delay, and we can fast forward
Yep.
through all the commercials. So that's nice.
I mean, dude, even then you look at it, like the live airing on NBC had 25 million viewers
Yeah.
alone, and then when you add out all the Peacock and all the other viewership up from the day, 34.3 is a pretty
that's
big number.
really good. And
That's
honestly,
like football
I think
numbers.
I think it's
know?
what was so good. I don't mean to shit on the parade because, I'm sure Macy's, they're kind of dying at this point.
Nice.
Like JCPenney is already dead and all that. So like Macy's is probably not in a good place in regards to that. So the fact that they were able to like, get more known people, I think that helped because for the past few years, they were better last year, but like I think like since in like the interim of like COVID and post COVID, we were like, who's this person? All like, because the thing is, the 5 people in my family were all of different walks of life, know different people, interested in different things, interested in different types of music. So, like, of course, you have like older people, my parents who know older people, and then my sisters that my middle sister knows like Broadway stuff, so she knows all of like the Broadway talents, and then my eldest sister knows people, and then I know people. So like you would think we would know everyone, and then like, but like the past few years are like, who's that person? Who's that person? Who's that person? And we're like, who the fuck are all these people? But luckily this year we actually like knew people. In fact, I surprised people like I remember there was Meg Donnelly. She was part of the parade, and she's in Moulin Rouge right on Broadway right now. But she was famously on the short list for Supergirl, so that's how I knew her. And then she also voiced the character in Legion of Superheroes and Crisis on Infinite Earths, so that's how I knew her. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know her. And my family's like, how the fuck do you know her? I'm like, then I explained. They're like, oh okay, that makes sense. But it's just like it's kind of funny that I missed that. Unfortunately, I woke up a little bit late, so I did miss Rick Astley. But I managed to get the Lego float, which I really appreciated. Love that Lego float. And a couple of we got Lil Jon. We got who else did we get? Lainey Wilson was some country fucking singer. I don't know who the hell she is. And a couple other people that I did know, but they're not coming to me right now. But and then we got, of course, like the fucking K-pop Demon Hunters fucking thing, the thing that has like fucking the popularity across the nation. And of course, my parents being old fucking boomers are like, really? Like this shit? Like why the fuck? And I'm like, it's popular. I don't know what to tell you.
Who is Thanks Delicious X? Like, I don't know what is even that? Is that a word? Is that a
Foreigner was there. That was
compound
another one.
word?
Foreigner.
Foreigner, okay.
I don't really think Jim Croce is country. He's more folk than anything, like folk rock. Allman Brothers, they can touch into country. I mean, I like Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, a couple other people, but it's I actually knew people, so that was exciting, and I really appreciated that. And then we got more anime shit this year. We got Goku, we had Pokemon, we had Luffy from One Piece, of course, in addition to the K-pop team. The anime, the weebs are fucking becoming more and more mainstream. Ain't that nice? So,
I mean, are you surprised?
No,
by
I'm
the way,
not.
hello figure drawing. It's like anime had like a top 5, one of the highest grossing movies of the year, and I think they actually might have 2 in the top 10 this. I might be wrong.
Because I know
about
Chainsaw
that.
Man did really well. I don't know if they reached the top 10, but they did really well though.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, still, like, it's clear. I mean, right now, for the last week or so, we've been talking about how the One Piece season 3 casting is going on, and they're starting production. Like, season 2 just came out. It's just becoming a bigger and bigger part of pop culture. Which, you know what, it's always been there, but I think now it's becoming more and more mainstream. So, and even that is not something new. It's just, I think, with superhero movies fading a little bit, and anime sort of filling the gap, not entirely. It's not like anime is all of a sudden replace superhero movies and everything else.
No,
Like, it's
nothing
not
like that.
but it's becoming I think rightfully so. It's getting to a point where it's maturing for mainstream audiences. When I say maturing, I don't mean like from an age perspective. I think as a genre, it's got greater, especially because the younger, like, people younger than me, people our age, like, it's they're all uh they've grown up with anime, and I think it's just now become much more
Yeah.
widespread, and it's great. There's some great anime out there. I've discovered more anime in the past couple of years of my life than I had
Yeah,
in
I
the
know.
previous
It's funny
20
because
whatever. So
I knew Luffy
yeah.
from One Piece because um I think well, it's because I have so many friends that are into anime, so I kind of just rub off on me like it's funny because I was like, oh yeah, that's Goku, and my sister she knew the anime, but she said the wrong one, like how your brain thinks something and then your
Yep.
mouth says something else. She's like, oh yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm like, no, Dragon Ball. She's like, yeah, Dragon Ball. Fuck. Damn, how did I not know? And so that was kind of funny, but it's just like there's a space for both. Like, there's so many, because different people like different things. And I think what people don't understand when it comes to superhero stuff is, like, both superhero and anime both cover multiple genres. It's just like under the blanket of stuff. Now, anime is broader, yes, because anime is literally an art form, is an art style, is a it's so, like, anime is so fucking broad. Superhero is a little bit more niche because, well, yes, it can do, like, Swamp Thing can be horror, Superman can be a drama or a rom-com or something. Batman could be like, it could be comedy or drama. So, like, it could be a lot of different things, but anime is just it just literally has everything because it's its own art form. It's not, it's like it's like saying live action. It's a live action movie. It's like, yeah, that's literally everything under the sun. So,
Yeah, well, you could make the argument that, I guess, comic book movies can encompass a lot of genres too.
that's why it's like comic
It's
book is like,
more, yeah. But
yeah.
anyway, I think it's just goes to show you, like, how the world has changed a lot, and especially our entertainment.
I would watch that movie.
So, but let's keep on going, because speaking of
Yeah,
comic book
we
movies, John, I
do.
think
They
we have
did
some,
post
yeah.
some stuff in regards to, speaking of, I mean, we have our boy Spider-Man, but they did have tons of other floats, but this
Mm-hmm.
was like stuff over the years. They had Superman, they had Mario, they had Pokemans, Pikachu and Eevee. They
There you
had
go.
Boom.
There you go. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's not Goku.
There's a Yu-Gi-Oh.
That
right?
is that is Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And then more Superman stuff, and there he is.
There's One Piece.
There is. Look, it's John One Piece. Anyway, you had Paddington.
I know that's not the name of the character.
Goku.
I'm saying.
And then
hey, Grogu. I like Grogu.
Goku and Pikachu and all these wonderful things. So yeah, you get.
I wonder where Grogu is right now. He's not watching, is he?
Yeah, I miss Grogu. He's the
Yeah.
cooler version of Grogu. John Paddington. John Pikachu.
Oh man, gotta catch them all, right, Caleb? Gotta catch them all. That's the. Hey, we got M2G, aka Godfather.
I would like to see
God
that.
FR012. Cool. Yeah. John Goku. Hey, you know what? There may be some fire behind that one. Man, speaking of fire in your loins, that's gonna be something for Fancast Friday. Oops, that's foreshadowing. Edgar Wright, directed DCU movies.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Hey, to one of your 5 options. I'm looking at the photos right now. It's your picks
what
for.
What the fuck did I pick then? Now I'm like, what did I pick?
Never mind. We're gonna get to it. This is just me shamelessly promoting the next show, Fancast Friday.
First things first, we are gonna get into box office stuff. We're gonna be, Zootopia 2 technically came out on. Usually stuff comes out on Friday, but they wanted to get a once
they give it a Wednesday release
the Thanksgiving, so it came out on Wednesday.
Which technically
previews on Tuesday.
It's crazy, right? Like it completely changes the calculus. I mean, they still are quoting your Friday, Saturday, Sunday numbers, which don't look like anything that will blow you away, but like the 5 days are what matter. And then you have the preview. But I mean, yeah, go ahead, John. Like
Zootopia 2 has apparently had the second best Thanksgiving at box office with close to $20 million. 5-day outlook now looking to 140, 150. Now, if you guys remember from 2 days ago, we were talking about how I believe it was Variety that was very broader. They were the most broad, where they said 125 to 150. Meanwhile, I think it was either Deadline or Hollywood Reporter. I think it was Deadline that was saying it was going to be like 130 to 140. But now, with how Thanksgiving is looking, now it looks like it's being bumped up to 140 to 150. So, while Variety was with that initial article we were talking about was technically right with that 125 to 150 broad range, now the more specific, the one that Deadline posted, is now got bumped up. So Variety was still right, but now this got bumped up. And so apparently with the confidence of this and Jared Bush and Byron Howard's sequel to the original film, it looks like they might have 140 plus. Now we'll see if it gets to that point. But Wicked had a similar range, and they managed to get almost 150. They had 147 during its initial total. So, yeah, I'm curious then, what are your thoughts on this? Do you plan on seeing the movie? Are you interested? Are you surprised? Are you, did you expect this?
Well, yeah, but by the way, hello, Tony. How are you doing? Look, Zootopia 2 has been getting amazing reviews. We're going to get into the review of the movie in a bit, but the last I checked, both the audience and the critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes were in the 90s. And just months ago, we were talking about how this movie is going to completely wipe the floor with whatever's out there. I mean, look, Wicked for good. It goes to show you how popular that movie is. That one for one, against Zootopia 2, which by the way is running wild in China and of course in North America, everywhere, especially China numbers are amazing. But Wicked for good is still making almost $100 million, 91 million across the same 5 days that Zootopia 2 is making like 150. I think these are impressive numbers.
Very.
It's like, here's the thing, like you can't really look at it and say, oh yeah, but like, an Avengers movie would come out on a Thursday for previews and make as much if not more money, because I think it's not quite the same thing, but like as far as movies go this year, like if you compare it to everything else that came out, the other four superhero movies, the Jurassic World, all the other big ones, Minecraft even, and what they're predicting even for Avatar Fire and Ash, right? The Avatar Fire and Ash predictions are actually lower, even though that's, I mean, it's gonna still have a bit of a holiday opening weekend, but it's not quite the 5 days. That is still gonna be more of your traditional 3-day plus the previews on Thursday opening. So yeah, I think this is really impressive. Look, we know that theaters need this. The theatrical market needs this. They need this. They need Wicked for Good to keep going.
Yeah.
They need Avatar
I
Fire
mean,
and
my
Ash. They need
trailer,
everything they can get.
my theater
So,
was filled absolutely
yeah.
to the brim, like, because we were looking at different times to go, and we're like, oh, what would be the best? And we were kind of late because I wasn't sure what my sister wanted to do because she came with me. So I was like, okay, we'll decide it now. And the thing is, like, every showing I was like deciding was this filled too much, filled too much, filled too. The only one I could find was like 2:30, was a 2:30 showing where it was like all both of us at the very end of the aisle, and that was the only place because all the other ones, the only other seats were like the very front row, and I'm not doing that. Like, fuck that shit. Like, I'm desperate, not that desperate for Zootopia 2.
There's not many movies this year you could say that about, right? So that's
So you know, it's, I mean, Wicked was pretty packed, and Superman was pretty packed, obviously. Yeah, Fantastic Four was decently. It wasn't like sold out levels, but it was still, you know, had a good amount of people. But you know, it.
Well, yeah. I mean, the
Bro,
experience.
furries ain't new. What the fuck are you talking about? Furries have been around for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Let's
Um,
get out of here.
But hey, look, I think Monique is making a good point. Regardless of you have seen the movie or not, like there's one thing for sure, you can definitely say that it is a good quality family film.
Your brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
I mean, it is certified fresh. Not just certified fresh family, but it is certified fresh. So, you know, there is that. But so now we're gonna move over to the international side of things.
I
But
am so interested in seeing what the final number in China opening weekend looks like.
yeah, because I was saying this on Wednesday, how we were like, how we were talking about, oh yeah, like the American box office is done in China because like superhero movies are failing over there, all that shit. And then it's just like, you fucking thought what, bitch? And then China's just like, we're gonna give our money to the furries. So it's just like, oh, okay, sure. I guess, but again, 4-quadrant movie, maybe. I don't know, but apparently it's like Superman, nah. Fucking Fantastic Four, nah. Furries, yes, please. So it's just, I don't know. But apparently Zootopia 2 has gone to 133.2 global through 2-day sequel. Is, as you said, it's going wild in China. But we were talking about how they were making, I forget what it was. Okay, so the estimate, it says the estimate here, is that the lifetime estimate for Zootopia 2 RMB, which is their currency, to 3.2 billion, which is about $450 million over here.
Wait, hold on. Read that again. I'm sorry. Wait, read that again, please. What?
So, Moyen, which is like their like box office like
lifetime estimate, meaning by the time Zootopia 2 is done playing in theaters in China, it's looking at $450 million.
Yes.
Wow. Those are like Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame numbers.
Yeah, and apparently it opened number one in nearly all international markets, including France, Germany, and Italy. And you know, it opened at number one in like Australia and all that stuff. So it's just like, it's fun. People love anthropomorphic animals. That's all I can really say about that. But it's apparently 74 million at the international box office across 2 days. So It
Okay,
launched in many. I think the only place it hasn't opened is I think Japan, which
right.
it opens December 5th, I believe. So
Well, hey Kyle, what's up? Hope you guys hope you had a great Thanksgiving. But I mean, okay, just to put that in context, by the way. So just a quick, recap. They're looking at the 3-day total for currently for Zootopia 2 at 94 million. And that 3-day total does not include Saturday, Sunday. So whatever, I mean, and those two usually are the bigger days, the biggest, or actually usually Saturday is the biggest day of the weekend. Then Sunday tends to be a bit of a, drop. But movies that do really well, the drop is not that big. So already, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in China added up to 94 million US dollars. It's gonna make over $100 million. It will have a comparable. This is the ultimate Hollywood wet dream that Disney is living, because every studio in Hollywood would give anything to have a movie perform just as well in China as it does in North America, the two biggest movie markets in the world. And this is the rare, at this point today, it's rare to see a movie do that from Hollywood. Or, for that matter, any movie from China. Ne Zha 2 barely cracked like 50 million, if that, in American box office when it got released here with English, was it subtitles or English dub? And A24 put it out. And, that movie supposedly made $2 billion in China, but, like, it didn't do jack shit in America, quite frankly. And, I mean, Hollywood movies like Superman. Superman didn't even make, like, 20 million in China. Like, that's...
It didn't even make, like, 20 million globally.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like I said, it's a wet dream for any studio, Hollywood or otherwise, where a movie's gonna make over $100 million in not one but two markets, North America and China. And then here's the thing: if these projections hold, which Maoyan is the Chinese box office tracker, I guess. Like, I mean, they're estimating, and they're raising their estimate for the lifetime earnings of Zootopia 2 in China to $450 million. Let me put that in context for you guys. Avengers Endgame made $629 million. That was, I mean, of course, I'm not adjusting for inflation, but 620. So again, Zootopia 2 right now is on track to make 450 million just in China alone. Avengers Endgame made 629 million. Then Avengers Infinity War before it made 359.5 million. So right now, Zootopia 2 is gonna outgross Avengers Infinity War in China. Not to mention Avatar: The Way of Water, which, look, like, it came out pretty close to the pandemic, so you could say maybe the numbers were a little bit lower, especially in China, where the lockdown lasted a lot longer. It was much stricter. But even then, Avatar: The Way of Water made $246.8 million there. So those are three of the biggest movies of the past 10 years in terms of the box office, and Zootopia 2 is gonna outgross two of them. And all three of those movies that I just pointed out to you guys have made over $2 billion a piece. So I don't know what this says, because if this Zootopia 2 movie is gonna make 450 in China alone, and probably something similar in North America, John, that right there, to me, the math gives me almost $1 billion alone. By the way, hello Enterprising, hope you're doing well. Then you add on top of that everything else that is doing everywhere else across the world. John, my question to you would be, is this going to become the highest grossing animated movie of all time? Can it cross $2 billion? Can it? Because here's the, okay, for the sake of conversation right now, I'm not counting Ne Zha 2. So I think the highest one ends up being, was it Inside Out 2 from last year? So Inside Out 2, let me take a quick look at what that
I think it made
worldwide
1-something billion.
It made 1.7 billion. That's the number that it's gotta beat. 1.7 billion. It's actually a little bit under 1.698. Do you think that Zootopia 2, with the kind of start that it's got, because here's the thing, Avatar: The Way of Water is going to be coming out in less than a month, but Avatar: The Way of Water, any of the Avatar movies, none of them, kick the other movies completely to the curb. They just have legs. They put them out in December and they keep playing till like March, and they will make money, and keep on making money, and they make money everywhere, like Zootopia 2 is doing right now, which is how the last two Avatar movies have made over $2.5 billion. They're two of the highest grossing movies of all time. But I mean, do you think Zootopia 2 could beat Inside Out 2 for the record 1.7 billion? Is that like, that's not, I mean, even Disney, I do not think would have predicted that that's where the box office trajectory would have gone, and it would not get anywhere close to that number, or have the potential to, if it wasn't for China pitching in as much as it has. Because quite frankly, this movie alone is probably outgrossing like half of the other Hollywood, if not most of the other Hollywood movies that have played in China this year. I think it's doing a lot better than even Jurassic World did in China. Like, what do you think, John? Do you think that will happen?
I don't think so. I don't know. I just have like severe doubts that Zoju, could it be good? Could it be close to? I don't think so. But like, it seems like, I don't know. It's just like with how the market is, with how like movies are. Like, I just almost don't believe it. Like, I don't even think if Avatar: Fire and Ash is going to get 2 billion, because I mean the projections for opening weekend are much lower. Because remember, I was doing
a
this
little bit lower than the
2 days
second
ago.
one, but higher than the first one, right?
But
yeah,
because the fucking ticket prices are higher. So I think now what I was doing about Avatar is that the projections for Avatar 2 were really high, and they didn't meet those projections. They were much lower. It was like 150, and it like came in at like 120 or something, like a pretty big gap, like something ridiculous like that. And now
it
it's like,
still ended up being the second highest grossing. Oh no,
I know,
the third
but
highest
like it's
grossing
just like
movie
I'm
of all
just talking
time.
about like opening, so it
yeah.
could still eventually diminish, where it's like 110, and then I still don't think, because of those early projections, I don't think Avatar: Fire and Ash is gonna reach the first two movies. I don't think so, even with increased ticket prices and all that stuff. I personally don't believe that they are going to. I don't think it's going to get too bad. Is it going to get is it going to get like one? I think at the very least it's going to get 1.5. I think 1.5, 1.8. I'll be nice for Avatar: Fire and Ash. For this, I can see it getting a lot of money. From these projections, it sounds like it's going to get 1 billion. It sounds like Wicked for Good is going to get 1 billion. However, I don't think it's going to be 2 billion. I wouldn't be horribly shocked if it got 2 billion. I just don't believe it just yet. I would just wait until the numbers on Monday when we talk about those. We'll see, but I think I think that's what it's gonna. I think this will make at the least like one. I think it'll like just make it like 1.1 billion. But if it keeps going, then good for them. But I don't think. I think, and the thing is, I think Avatar: Fire and Ash is going to get close. I think it's not like I'm saying, oh, they're gonna barely scrape by with 1 billion. I do think Avatar: Fire and Ash is going to reach almost 2 billion. I'm not saying it's not gonna like get I think it'll get close. I don't think it'll reach that. I don't think it'll be 2.5 billion.
Here's the thing. Close. At this point, I just don't doubt James Cameron. I really don't, because he's got this ability to pull you into an immersive world and tell you a story that takes you places. That's really ultimately what people want to go.
But sure.
I don't do at this point, like that part of it. There's more to it than that. Like, and I know there's you can boil down a lot of movies to and making a very simple comparison. There's only so many different ways you can skin a cat when it comes to movies and storytelling. I get that, but like, it's more than that. Obviously, there's a reason why the first two movies have grossed like over 5 billion combined, which is insane to think about. No movies. I mean, this could be the first trilogy ever to have 3 movies gross over $2 billion. The Avengers haven't done that. Only 2 of the 4 that have come out have done that. And Avatar just has never. I mean, it's the thing about Avatar is kind of similar to like what Christopher Nolan does now with the scale of his movies. You get, I bet you, the Odyssey is going to be $1 billion movie. Oppenheimer was almost $1 billion movie. Barbie was $1 billion movie. Obviously, we had Top Gun Maverick. All of those movies have the same thing in common with Avatar, which is they take you and whisk you away to a world that is, maybe somewhat similar, but certainly not the one that you're living in. And you get to escape your day's problems. You enjoy a story. All of those movies that I just pointed out, none of them are, doing anything revolutionary with storytelling formats. Or, I mean, sure, Christopher Nolan, I think, with Oppenheimer, with his non-chronological storytelling, but even then it wasn't like you're watching Inception all of a sudden. It was playing with time mechanics in that sense. It was more traditional in that way in terms of like the story. It was a biopic. But all of those movies, like, they just take you away from the world that you're living in, and they help you escape into this other world and just, have fun. That's what the movies are all about. They're about, exciting your imagination. And I think James Cameron does that better than just about any filmmaker out there, whether it was back in the day with Titanic or even The Abyss, of course, Terminator, Judgment Day, and any of these Avatar movies. And the man's got 3 of the 5 highest grossing movies of all time. So I think I'm not doubting James Cameron. I'm also looking at this right now. These numbers look amazing. And remember, like, $1.5 billion, I think, is on the low end estimate. I'm not gonna say 2.5 just yet for Avatar 3, Tony, but I think like Zootopia it will be batting in the range of 1.5 billion, given where the numbers are right now. 3 billion opening weekend, probably maybe not like 3 billion in RMB, which is the Chinese currency, but not in US dollars. But remember, they're gonna release the Doomsday trailer, next to not only that, actually, was it yesterday or is it today we're gonna talk about this? That not only are we gonna get, or did you talk about this yesterday? Like or not yesterday, but 2 days ago. That not only are we getting the Avengers Doomsday trailer tagged onto Avatar Fire and Ash, but we're also getting like a whole prologue, like a 5-minute prologue to the Odyssey attached.
We're going to be talking about that in quick hits.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm just saying, like, we'll talk about it again later, but like, you're going to get probably 8 minutes of the most anticipated previews. Hi, Movie Spud. We hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. Like 8 minutes of we're going to get 8 minutes between Avengers Doomsday's first trailer, the teaser trailer, and with now we know the Odyssey's almost 5-minute long, supposedly, we don't know the exact runtime, but like a 5-minute long prologue, and possibly on top of that a Supergirl teaser, maybe, who knows. So up to maybe 10 minutes of the most anticipated, or certainly at least the 8 minutes of the most anticipated, previews in front of Avatar Fire and Ash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out like when was the last time something comparable was happening. Obviously, you're thinking about like Avengers Endgame trailer, but before that maybe the Phantom Menace trailer. Like literally, people were buying tickets back in those times to just go watch the trailer to the first Star Wars movies in a couple of decades and then just walk out. But Avatar Fire and Ash isn't a movie that you're gonna just buy the ticket to watch the trailers for something else and walk out. So I think that's going to have a push for it as well. So I'm just saying, Avatar 3, don't count out James Cameron just yet. But Zootopia 2, I mean, and not to mention, we're not even talking about it right now, but Wicked for Good is still out there. We've potentially got $2 billion movies in a year where there's only been one other $1 billion movie, right? Am I wrong about that? No, Minecraft didn't get there. But what was there has there been $1 billion? Why am I forgetting right now? Yeah. What was the
Spider-Man No Way Home? I know made $1 billion.
No. This year.
Oh, this year. I thought you were talking about in general.
In a year. Well, what was the other Disney movie? Somebody tell me in the chat. Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch is the only $1 billion movie this year. We might have like half a dozen next year, but like this year, there's only been one, and the next 3 are coming out right now. I mean, 2 of them are out right now, I think, and one of them is yet to come. So. Yeah, and Disney, of course, has got a part to play in 2 out of those 3. So good on Disney, because they need it too, because they've been behind. They've been batting from behind, from a deficit for most of the year, but a lot of misses. Whereas Warner Brothers, obviously, they're done for the year, but they did well for themselves. But anyway, that's the box office obsession there. Maybe we can call this segment that, because I mean, look, we were talking about it the other day, John, the whole history lesson on how Hollywood is probably going in in a cycle where we're about to hit a big reset, but certainly the status
We literally
quo.
just said that. Like, we're
Right.
just talking about.
No, it's okay. The chat is behind sometimes. It's all good, Caleb. But like literally, the status quo I think will be maintained. These movies are gonna keep the status quo in place for a little while longer, because $3 billion movies to close out the year is gonna be hopefully a good recovery. Especially because like if these movies are gonna do as well as they're potentially gonna do, they might actually over-index on the ultimate prediction for like the box office for the year, because they were saying it was gonna be lower than last year, which nobody thought would be the case, but it might actually end up being on par if not better. So good for the movies. If you're a fan of the movies, this is a good thing. And these aren't bad movies. Like Wicked for Good is fantastic. Zootopia 2 is amazing. Hopefully Avatar Fire and Ashes as well. And yeah, all the trailers to come with it. But yeah.
I look out of
Oh,
focus.
Mama Spud. Mama Spud is going to see Wicked for Good with Movie Spud on Sunday. We love to hear it. Let us know what Mama Spud thinks about it. Let us know what you think about it when you go to see it. We'll be talking about it on Monday, I'm sure, about how things went over the weekend. Yeah, there's some good trailers about to come out for movies coming out in 2026. But yeah, with that, let's keep it rolling here. We got more to talk about.
Our boy, speaking of Avengers Doomsday trailer, our boy Robert Downey Jr. posted something that was possibly interesting for Thanksgiving, and now everyone's going crazy. Like, this gentleman is like, tell me, what does it mean? And it's like, bro, it's literally just Doom and Iron Man breaking the wishbone. That's all. I think it's just a Thanksgiving ditty. That's all it is. It's just a cute little image, and it's just a that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. But people want to make a mountain out of a molehill, so here we are.
I mean, is that it? Is it? Because I'm just saying.
I think that's it. I think it's just Doom.
Look, RDJ's been posting a few things like this over the past year. He's clearly at that stage in his career now where he's enjoying himself. He's like, look, I'm getting paid all the money in the world. I literally can do whatever the hell I want. But and I'm sure he's got a lot of creative, talented people working for him who can whip up something like this. This definitely looks like
ripping the
great
wishbone.
artwork. Yeah, there you go. But I will say though, for the sake of having an interesting conversation, let's say. Hi, Dark Elite Eric. Let's just, for the sake of conversation, just humor me. If this is a hint at something for the upcoming movies, the two Avengers movies, what could it be that RDJ is referring to or hinting at? Does this mean, because people were like taking the speculations a little too far, I think, with like ultimately we're gonna like this means we're gonna get RDJ back as Iron Man fighting Doctor Doom in Avengers Secret Wars at some point. Could that happen? Maybe. Is it likely? Probably not, because then that just kind of, goes back to a character who's already had closure several times to the point where they literally killed off the character. But what do you think, John? Like, do you think this has a direct connection to at least Avengers Doomsday, if not also Secret Wars?
Maybe. I mean, maybe it means like, maybe Iron Man is coming back. Maybe, it's wish fulfillment. Like, breaking a wishbone. It's wish fulfillment with Iron Man coming back, negating the whole fucking point of the ending of Endgame. But, they're desperate, so it's like, whatever. I have no clue, but like, I could see them doing that because it's Marvel. They don't give a shit. They're just like, we care about money. So, These fuckers brought Hugh Jackman back after he had a perfect swan song in Logan. They're clearly not above doing whatever they need to do to get that money. So, here we are.
No, I mean, I hear you. But look, for me, I think, if anything, this might be teasing, and we might be looking back at this a year from now, a little more, maybe more than a year from now, depending on which movie this ends up being paid off in, the first or the second Avengers movie that's about to come out. We might be looking back at this in a year or two and thinking, oh, Remember when Robert Downey Jr., when Iron Man himself, when Tony Stark teased this, that Victor Von Doom and Tony Stark were going to cross paths at some point in these upcoming Avengers movies? Does it need a 30-minute breakdown video from whichever YouTube channel that does that? Or channels? No. But I'm just going to speculate, and I'm going to say, like, this means again, the Russo brothers have said it from almost day one when they announced it at Comic-Con a couple of years ago, that there is a direct connection. They inferred it. They didn't say that, but they inferred it by saying that the way this Doctor Doom is going to be portrayed, only Robert Downey Jr. could do it. And that strongly hinted at the idea that there is some level of, interconnectivity, whether it's through the multiverse or whatever, with the Tony Stark that we all know and love. So how that works, I mean, this is only just, again, teasing it. This is the most visual direct tease of that we have seen. If you look at all the official stuff from the Russo brothers or from Robert Downey Jr., even the leaked stuff, I mean, whichever, I mean, sure, the fake stuff is fake, but I mean, of all the stuff that we know for real, this is the most direct, hint at the idea that, there's like the same task, new mask, same task, right? Like, so I do think this means that we might not have seen the last of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, or Tony Stark, because maybe even, another multiversal variant. Maybe not the one that we knew and loved. Maybe it's another one. Or yeah, I don't know. You can look at this and be like, oh yes, we're gonna see Victor Von Doom be basically showing up, pretending to be Tony Stark and doing some batshit crazy stuff to the Avengers of our 616 universe.
I fucking hope not, but
like,
wouldn't put it past them.
At this point, like, you gotta wonder though, like Occam's razor, because of all the millions theories that everybody has speculated, one of or a few of those might be pretty close to the mark, right? It's not like the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige and co are Shakespeare. Like, they're not gonna be writing, or like, M. Night, they're not gonna give you the most twisty, unexpected thing. Chances are, like, what we're gonna get is probably one of the simpler explanations or theories that somebody has already put out there, and that might mean that, we might be getting some crossed wires between Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom in that way. So yeah, let the hype flow through you, John. It says Figure Drawing. So I mean, you guys let us know in the comments down below. Let us know. We'll bring those comments in to the show. But yeah, well, what do you think this means? Is this RDJ saying I'm not only going to be starring in Avengers Doomsday as Victor Von Doom, but maybe also as Tony Stark?
Bro, I haven't been genuinely hyped for a Marvel movie since Spider-Man No Way Home, maybe? Even then, I wasn't really hyped for it. I was just like, okay, this looks not like the worst thing ever. Honestly, probably Logan. Logan's probably the last time I was like genuinely super hyped for a movie, and that doesn't even count because it's Fox, not MCU, so I wasn't really hyped for Guardians 3. I was just like, this looks fine. Like, I just want to see James Gunn end his story, even though he didn't end it the way he wanted to. So I was just like, all right, I'm cool with that. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next Marvel thing because I'm sick of staring at this fucking image. Anyway, we have the next thing, another rumor, because that's what we love so much is fucking rumors that don't mean jack shit. Apparently, according to Cosmic Circus, who are totally legit and totally don't make shit up, there is a rumor from them that the Marvel Studios fanfare will become a plot device in the MCU. For 17 years, we've been staring at a plot device. I'm sure they didn't mean to until recently, but man, that's kind of genius. And it's the intro. So, like, what the flying fuck does that mean? Like, you know what it means? It's bullshit. That's what it fucking means. Because this, like, how the fuck is a movie intro a plot device?
Well, no, I mean, like, it's plot. I could see how, because what was it? She-Hulk did something funky with it, right? It wouldn't be the first time where they're sort of
No, I know they've done. I mean, they have two fourth wall breaking characters. They have She-Hulk
right,
and they have Deadpool. So it's just like
right.
obviously like they're gonna do something. But like I can't like wrap my head around that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I just don't understand the genius of Kevin Feige.
Look,
But
here's the
like,
thing. If it is a plot device, it's probably not something super significant. Because the last thing you want to, it's one thing when you are making a show like Severance, where literally the whole point is every little bit of that show, like you need to keep your eyes open and you need to be focused on what you're watching, because otherwise you're gonna miss some tiny detail that's gonna come back to matter, 5 episodes from now. But you could do that with something a bit more niche, and I know Severance is like got a huge mass appeal, but it's much a smaller audience size than what are expected to be go to watch these Avengers movies. So I don't think they're gonna do like it would be like saying, okay, we're gonna hide some significant clue to an Avengers movie in one of the Disney Plus shows. We know how that went for the last 5 years. So I don't think if it's anything that they do with this as a plot device that it will be significant. And if they do have it as a plot device, it's probably a little more literal than we're thinking about it. Like it might just end up being incorporated into the movie somehow. Like instead of just being like a cutaway to a logo animation, it's more part of the movie. It progresses the movie forward in some way. But ultimately, this this is small. These are small potatoes. Like
I'd be hyped if that was used in the movie. Like, yeah, he's not the Doom, and instead it's like an actually like it's like we want that Oppenheimer actor for Doom. Oh, you mean Robert Downey Jr.? No, not that one.
I wouldn't put it past.
Or it's like how, hey, we want Heisenberg for Lex Luthor. Oh, we got you. We're gonna have Eisenberg play Lex Luthor. No, that's not what we meant. So, sounds stupid, but we'll see how that fucking turns out. But still on this, oh god, like you had like Kino concept art, and this is the shit you fucking went with. Like, what the fuck, guys? Come on. God, it's like a tumor. Anyway, so Avengers Doomsday,
John,
Disney Plus
it's not a
highlights
tumor.
TMC
It's
post
not a
credit scenes
tumor.
as promotion
Go
kicks
ahead,
off.
sorry.
So anyway, I just didn't want to look at that anymore. But so earlier this week, Disney Plus Latin America officially began promoting Avengers Doomsday on social media, sharing an image with Doctor Doom alongside Franklin Richards from the mid-credit scene. The world is getting ready for a new event. And then later, the account posted a second shot, this time from Thunderbolts. They already started preparing for meeting. And what's your theory? Now we have a third image featuring Sam Wilson paying a visit to the leader on the raft in Captain America Brave New World's divisive post-credits tag. Samuel Stern's warning to Wilson is a little more ambiguous. Do you think you're the only ones? Do you think this is the only world? We'll see what happens when you have to protect this place from the others. So yeah, obviously this was the first image. This was the second image with, the Fantastic Four coming here, and then this one with Sam Wilson visiting him on the raft. So yeah, obviously we're getting finally getting something from like some type of Avengers Doomsday. I can't look at that now. Some type of Avengers Doomsday hype. So what are your thoughts on this, Dan? Are these cool post-credit scenes? Do these, properly hype you up for this? I don't know.
Well, here it's clearly just a recap tool because of how confusing the past couple of phases have been. I think they're just because remember there've been these stories that have been coming out over the last year basically, where whether scoopers or somebody officially saying, I think the Russo brothers might have hinted at it at some point, saying that basically the story that they're trying to tell now with these two Avengers movies ties into only a handful of things that have come before it in the last two phases 4 and 5, because we're in phase 6. So we know that while the initial idea was that all this multiversal stuff was going to tie together very neatly, clearly things got really scattered, and a lot of that stuff is now basically going to be ignored or like really not revisited. So whether it's characters or storylines or whatever, or even a lot of end tags, all these post-credit scenes that are never going to go anywhere. But a few of them will matter. And I think what they're doing now with Disney Plus is they're trying to, guide the audiences, and Disney Plus has a huge subscriber base, to, what is important. And like, I think if I remember correctly, the idea was, somebody was reporting it the other day, that only about a half dozen of the things, like more or less, whether it's end credit scenes or some kind of like loose thread, mostly post credit sequences, like what you're talking about with Captain America 4. It's only about a half dozen, or like a handful of them, that actually tie into the story of the two Avengers movies coming up. And so I'm not surprised that Disney Plus is sort of pointing the way with their marketing, because that means it's gonna give somebody who's not maybe as into this stuff and talks about it 5 days a week, or watches other people talk, like watches us maybe talk about it for 5 days a week, which there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we're super fans, so we do that, but the vast majority of people don't. So for them, like, this is their way to discover the pieces of the story of the MCU that will matter when it comes to watching Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. It's a good idea, it's sort of like previously in the MCU in a roundabout way, and I don't mind it, because if anything, this sort of helps us suss out what storylines are not going to be revisited again. Like, I don't think we're going to go back to the post-credit sequence from the Eternals movie with Harry Styles coming back as Thanos' brother. Like, I don't think we're going to do that. However, it definitely looks like, we're going to revisit the what's the dude? Why am I the leader from Captain America 4? So, hey Tony. Yeah, so I'm not surprised by this. This makes sense. And if anything, for the average audience member, this helps them kind of get a better, lock on where things are headed. So yeah, I'm down with that. Nothing wrong with this. Good marketing, if anything. And once the trailer comes out this December, in less than a month's time, for Avengers Doomsday, that will also inform a lot of people's, North Star for what they're expecting. So yeah, this is good.
Cool. Very nice. Let's see Paul Allen's. Anyway, so the last one is last thing we have for MCU Weekly is Tatiana Maslany's issues with Disney could prevent Avengers Secret Wars She-Hulk return. Oh no. Anyway, I don't think anybody is really miffed about this. Like, I like, no blame to Tatiana Maslany. She because she infamously posted like, hey, unsubscribe from Disney Plus after what they did to Jimmy Kimmel. So now because of that, she's not, might not return. But it's just like, again, I don't blame her for the shittiness of She-Hulk. It's not her fault. She's just an actress. She was told lines by horrible writers and horrible directors to say these things, so it's not her fault. Oh no, not She-Hulk. But apparently, according to My Time to Shine, that Marvel does want Maslany back in the fold, but the actress has no desire to return. And Maslany said things about Jimmy Kimmel, and said controversial comments about Charlie Kirk. And Marvel Studios wanted to use She-Hulk in a big way for Avengers Secret Wars. The problem is that Tatiana Maslany has no interest in working for Disney. If they're unable to convince her to return, the options are to remove the character altogether or recast the role. Now, the thing is, I would say if she's like integral to the plot, I would say just recast her. Like, for the most part, it's like she's just like in her She-Hulk form. So it's not like you really need Maslany, and there's that. So I don't know. I just think that this isn't that much of a big deal. If she doesn't want to return, she just wants to keep making movies with Oz Perkins, which is honestly probably way better anyway. I would say, I think Maslany, she's a very good actress. I've seen her in plenty of things. I thought, even though she didn't have a big role, I thought she was great in The Monkey. I saw her on Broadway. She was great there. So she was great in Orphan Black from what I've heard. Like my friend watched that show, said she was amazing, especially on a show where she's playing multiple versions of herself. So that, means something as well. And it's clear, it's like if she doesn't want to go back to Disney because of things they've done in the past, then obviously don't force them. I would say if the character is like integral, don't change that, even though Marvel is known for changing things last minute, like reworking entire like things on the fly, and usually that doesn't work. So I would say if it's integral, recast her. If she's not integral and she just plays a big part in the finale, like her strength is used for something, then I would say just replace her with another character and then just kind of kick her out of there. So, it's they've recasted a bunch of people. So they've recasted a Hulk already. Why not recast another? Right. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Dan?
Yeah. So some of this stuff is fairly obvious in the sense that, okay, she may be persona non grata considering her publicly expressed opinions. Disney wouldn't be the first studio to mend those broken relationships, and I don't think she
next time, baby.
Yeah, next time. I don't think she completely burned bridges, by the way, because ultimately I think she was in the right with what she was saying, and a lot of people
again, this is coming from a scooper, so who knows.
Right, but even you just look at the circumstances as they are from what we know to be true.
Yes, they're big, huge mess of 3 projects. Yeah, right. Big, huge mess.
But anyway, as I was saying, like the whole idea that just going off of what we know to be true publicly, Tatiana Maslany is not only a great actress, but somebody who is very outspoken and usually in the right. I think ultimately what she said about Disney when all that stuff with Jimmy Kimmel was going on, I think she had the right intentions in mind. It's a little questionable in the sense that if you intend to work with a company again, that you would be publicly calling for people to cancel their accounts to the streaming service, which is one of the core foundations now at this point, like one of the core pillars of the company. But a lot of other people who do not have the platform or the influence of Tatiana Maslany at Disney probably felt the same way as she did about the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation. So
Pellegrino, it's seltzer water, by the way.
Yeah, like I don't think this is a situation where they wouldn't be able to mend fences if they needed to. But if they couldn't, like you said, John, they could very easily recast. They've done it before. There's clearly precedent there, and it worked out really well for them. With Mark Ruffalo coming in for Ed Norton's Hulk, so it wouldn't be the first time. She's also I don't think somebody who's like I said, she's not as big of a like a star in that sense.
Right.
Like, I think more people probably were like, wait, that's meant to be the same guy as the one from the Incredible Hulk when Mark Ruffalo showed up. Although they did kind of I mean, Mark Ruffalo really made it the character his own, and then
for better or for worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the Incredible Hulk, like you look at the box office for that versus the Avengers, it's like the Avengers made like 5 times as much money, so a lot more people went to see that movie. So ultimately, and it was pretty early on. We already know it's unlikely we're gonna get another She-Hulk.
Also, yeah, I fucked up my thumb on if you guys are wondering what happened to my thumb, I just fucked up my thumb on Thanksgiving. I was using a potato peeler and I was trying to get out a hunk of bruise in the potato, and it went too fast and it sliced the tip of my. It looks way worse than it actually is. Like it's really just like the tiniest cut on the tip of my finger, but the problem is the skin needs to like merge back together, so I'm keeping it covered until then so it can actually heal properly. But it just like bandages were too small, so I had to put gauze tape on. So I'm good. It's okay. I'm a-okay. So if you cared, gotcha. I'm okay. I'll live. I didn't like try to deep fry a turkey and my thumb came off or anything like that. No emergency room, just a cut. That's it.
Well, that's good to know. That is good to know. But I was saying, look, this is not a big deal. Like, no. It's like, no shit, she said some stuff about Disney that Disney, executives might not be happy about, therefore they might not want her back. But at the same time, they might want her back because, I think She-Hulk was a character that has a lot of potential and a lot of unrealized potential. She does, because
She-Hulk is a great character. Yeah. It's just, I feel like the way they did her in the show was, it just felt, and I'm not just talking about, oh, she twerked, that means she sucks. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, the way they tried to do, like, the fourth wall stuff, it didn't really hit home. And on top of that, it, like, they tried to, like, oh, she's a flawed character. But the way that everyone surrounds her is like, oh, she's not flawed, and oh, she's the greatest thing ever. And then, like, all the supporting characters were so blah. And then I feel like they just didn't, like, get what made, like, She-Hulk so interesting. And then, like, the idea of, like, I'm a woman, you don't know my pain. It's like, literally, we saw in the MCU this guy tried to put a gun in his mouth, and the other guy spit out the bullets. It's like, but you don't know my pain. It's like, all right, shut the fuck up. It's just like the way they portrayed her was just not, like, it was just kind of cringy. Is it the worst show ever? No, but it just, like, clearly she made a bad impression. And again, that's not Tatiana Maslany's fault. That's the writer's fault. That's Jessica Gao's fault. Blame them. And again, you're getting a bunch of people who don't know how to write courtroom scenes to write a
they admitted
show
that
that's
themselves.
about courtroom stuff. So it's like,
I mean, and that's not us, like, putting it on them. The writers of that show said it themselves. They were like, we don't really know how to do this. Like, it was the most, like, what?
Yeah, because, like, if you remember, there was in the Avengers, I think it was in the first Avengers, where he's like,
I think it was.
I tried
Widow,
to, like,
Natasha.
I tried to end it all. I tried to put it, and then he's like, I put a gun in my mouth, but the other guy spit out the bullets. And Bruce Banner was saying this. There was a scene in Hulk, in the Incredible Hulk, but it was deleted, that showcased that. Unfortunately, they couldn't show him actually, like, putting the gun in his mouth because it was PG-13. So he just showed him holding it, but then he eventually turns into the Hulk, and that was that. So the movie was alluding to that deleted scene. So that is technically now canonical. So this was back when, like, Marvel could actually, like, be dark and interesting with its characters, like when they actually understood Hulk as a character, and now he's a punching bag for this bitch. So, you know, it's, but the thing is, the twerking could have been funny. It just came off as cringy. Because, I mean, there was the whole, like, naked jump rope bit in the comics that, like, worked, but it was like the way that it was, like, making fun of, like, gross incel assholes. Meanwhile, they, like, tried to make twerking, like, this, like, power move, and it was like, what are you doing? And it just, I don't know, it was just stupid to me. That's all. That's not the reason why the fucking show sucked. All right, like, that was
no, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things. Look, basically, like you said, the writers of that show didn't do the character justice.
They did show Captain America in that deleted scene for a half sec. Yeah. So yes, you're right.
Yeah, but hey, look, I think She-Hulk deserves a second life in the MCU, and hopefully she'll continue to be portrayed by Tatiana Maslany, because I think she's a great actress.
She is a great actress, but maybe Oz Perkins wants to use her for his next movie, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
onwards and upwards.
Yes, of course. But that's it for MCU Weekly. Now we got to get into MovieTalk Madness.
Oh boy!
It's like literally, it's like no matter how much I talk, you like just people just goes one ear out the other. Like I'm just gonna stop talking because like you guys fucking don't understand what I'm trying to fucking say here, and it's just fucking irritating me now. So now we're gonna move to MovieTalk Madness. Let's go to the. I don't know. I never know what music we use for this. What music? This, right?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, that's okay. Good, perfect. Because we're gonna get into MovieTalk Madness. Well, I don't know if you want to be here for this, Dan, because you haven't seen the movie yet. But at least I don't think you have. But
I haven't yet. So yeah, I'll let you take over for this.
Yeah.
It's Zootopia 2.
It's Zootopia 2, guys. So I saw this. I already mentioned it a couple of times. How I did see this with my sister earlier today. Now, in terms of what I expected, I was cautiously optimistic about this movie because I really love the first one. I really wanted this one to be good, but it could have gone either way. It could have gone the way of, like, from what I've heard of Moana 2. I have not seen it, so I don't know how good or bad it is, but I've heard people say that was a very meh movie. All the songs were kind of bland, and it just did not reach the heights of the first one, even though it made a ton of money. but or like something from Pixar where it was like Inside Out 2, which was like a movie that was made tons of years after the first one, and it blew everyone away with how great it was, how it felt like a proper continuation. It tackled new depth, new situations, and so it could have gone on. I understand that's Pixar, that's Disney Pixar, not Disney, but people were like, okay, where is this one gonna go? So the very first trailer was very cringy. That teaser trailer with like the mice and the EDM music. I'm like, ugh, no, this is stupid. And the trailers, for the most part, were okay, but they were not convincing me that this could be good. So, I'm going to I was going to be like, okay, I'll see it. We'll see how it goes. And guys, I actually really liked this movie. I thought it was a great film. It exceeded my I didn't have a ton of expectations, as I said, but it exceeded them. All the characters were familiar with, eked back into their roles with great ease. You have Jason Bateman as Nick Wilde. You have Jennifer Goodwin as Judy Hopps. They return to their roles perfectly. Their chemistry, while the same, it's different. Now they're actual partners, and now they're actually like properly working together, while instead of the begrudging partnership that you see in like a lot of other movies, now it's like more of a partnership. And yeah, exactly. I think this is a very great film. So in terms of that, you have Chief Bogo, still voiced by Idris Elba. Shakira comes back, guys. I don't know if you cared about that, but she comes back. And a couple others who I won't mention because they're in smaller roles and they're kind of surprises. So I won't. There are a couple people from the first movie that come back that that I don't want to say here. Yes, Zooptopia, we trust. Not again, going to figure drawing, not understanding language very well. Boom, that's another slight against that. So, so Idris Elba, Nate something or other as like the big fat like cheetah or leopard or wherever the hell he is. He comes back, and then just like a whole bunch of people, they all come back, and they all do it. It doesn't sound like they're sleeping on the job. It doesn't sound like they're doing this for a paycheck. Like, Jason Bateman is still bringing his absolute A game. He is so good in this role, and I've always been a huge fan of Jason Bateman. But now, obviously, like the shrews come back as well. And of course, you have new people. As always, they bring in new people, and some of the new people are, you have David Strathairn, you have Andy Samberg, you have what's her name, that stand-up comedian, I'm blanking on it, Fortune Feimster. I'm not a huge, I found her kind of annoying, but like I'm not a big Fortune Feimster fan. My sister, who loves her, was very much happy with that. I'm not the biggest fan of her, but if you like her, then you'll probably like this. But you had Patrick Warburton as the new mayor. He was a ton of fun. You had Quinta Brunson. Nate Torrance was Clawhauser, that's what it was. Quinta Brunson. You had Bonnie Hunt, Don Lake, Michelle Gomez, and then of course our boy Ki-Hu Kwan as Gary DeSnake. Yes, that is his name, DeSnake, DE' Snake. So the whole basis of this is that many years ago in this many years ago, before like Zootopia was founded, allegedly a snake killed another person, which caused reptiles to be like kind of like sent away and not allowed to come out because they viewed reptiles as evil. So for many years, for 100 years, Zootopia has been mainly for mammals, amphibians, and that kind of thing, but not reptiles. Reptiles have been stricken from Zootopia. Or Zootropolis, if you are in, somewhere globally. So now here we are. We're back with Judy Hopps. We're back with Nick Wilde. They, I think it's been like about a year later since they joined the force, and they're trying to do their next big case, but they're rookies and they want to try and prove themselves, but they need to hold back and all this other. So you do have a lot of character stuff here, and now there's like this conspiracy in regards to another reptile in Zootopia, and who is the character of Gary, and he's brought in, and he's being framed for something. He's like, I need to help my family, I need to do this. And eventually Nick and Judy are framed for hurting Chief Bogo, allegedly trying to kill him. So they're on the run, so they need to figure out what's going on with this snake character, and it goes off. It's like this whole, like, trying to uncover evidence on what's happened to, like, the reptiles in Zootopia. Why are they not allowed? What happened? And it pretty much goes on from there, while also dealing with interpersonal character stuff between Nick and Judy. And while, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I would prefer if they listened to me when I talk, but Patrick Warburton should always be casted as a big chin Chad. But I thought a lot of these characters, they were so colorful and memorable, all the new ones. And then the chemistry between Judy and Nick is still brilliant to this day. They work so well off each other. But they're also dealing with new stuff instead of like begrudging. Now they're used to each other. They're kind of like an old married couple, but like they don't have the experience of an old married couple to get through their like problems. So it's like you have that stuff. And then I feel like there are a good amount of twists that obviously I'm not going to spoil. However, they were a bit obvious. Not a total slight against the film. I just wish they were better portrayed here. I thought David Strathairn, he does I would say he gives the best performance in this movie. He does such a fucking amazing job in this movie. I thought Andy Samberg was good. The animation is still fantastic, even though I will always prefer 2D animation, 3D animation. When it's utilized well, it looks like with, I know one of the slights against Moana 2 was the animation, but that was made for Disney Plus, so they definitely didn't have as much of a budget. Here they had like a proper movie budget because it was always intended to be a movie. So I really like that. I thought the action was really good, for like big set pieces were well done. Like the sprawling, like cinematography and animation was utilized very well. I thought this was just a very overall a very exciting movie. Now, would I say it's better than the first? No, not even close. I think personally, I think it does have some problems that prevent it from being as good as its predecessor. Like, I think it doesn't have the same charm as the first one. Like, you kind of like, it's like kind of the whole lightning in a bottle thing. Even though they managed to do a lot of really good stuff with this, the charm of the first one they didn't manage to replicate, but that's usually the case with most sequels. That obvious twist was, again, it's not a major negative. It's just like, oh, okay, like, it's just like when something happens in the movie, it's just like, oh, that's obvious, and it's just like, oh, okay. And then the fact that the theme or concept this time around is still, hey, did you know racism is bad? It's just like, yeah, you did that in the first movie, but instead of now predators, it's reptiles. and it's just like, all right, we've done this song and dance before. Like, you could have try to do something a little bit newer. So there was that. Yeah. I would say, well, this isn't Pixar, it's Disney difference, but this is like Disney's The Fugitive in a way. But I think, and there is some like cringy humor. The humor for the most part's really good. Like, there's this one joke, again, I don't want to spoil it, that had me, I was the only one laughing my ass off in the theater. When this, like, there's like a music sting and like a clear reference to something, I was rolling on the floor. I thought it was great. And so, you know, I liked the Zebros, you know, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I thought that was funny. They don't have like a big role, but they were very, very funny. But I did, but for the most part, I really liked this movie. It's not quite as good. It's close to the first one. I would probably give this an 8 out of 10, like a solid 8 out of 10. I think the first one is like 9.5. I think, probably, I guess, like I laughed like out loud. I was like, ha, ha! Like, it was like a loud laugh too. But yeah, for the most part, I thought this was great. Yeah, it does have a couple flaws that prevent it from, you know, truly being as good as its predecessor, but I still ended up really liking it. So I'd probably give it like a solid 8 out of 10, although most people seem to be liking it a little bit more than me. It has a certified fresh at 91%, and then a hot popcorn meter at 95%. So I would definitely recommend it. Go to a theater to watch it, maybe on like a matinee if you can, like during like the week, so you're not dealing with like a lot of like kids and a lot of other people. But I think, I thought this was great. I thought it was a great film. It's not one of my favorites. It's not going to crack my top 20, but it's close. It's very close. But I still really like this one. I thought it was, it's nice that, you know, that a movie that was made almost a decade after the first one, like, actually warrants its existence. It warrants, you know, a worthy story of the first. And I thought what it did, it was like again, this is what I want Disney movies to be, is like, it's something for everyone. It's not just a kiddie movie like I felt like Elio kind of was, where it's like cute creatures and flashing lights everywhere. This like actually had, even though they've done this concept before, they actually like still do interesting ideas. It's not just about like, oh, hey, racism is bad, which is always a good thing to showcase, because a lot of people are kind of forgetting that nowadays. But, you know, like what, like partnerships, familial ties, familial bonds, insert Vin Diesel clip here. But I thought this was overall a great film, and I highly recommend it. Go watch it. I know a lot of people will probably had reservations about this because, you know, of all the context, Disney sucking, sequels made so long after the first sucking, you know, Disney sequels sucking. So there's all that. But this isn't just like Elio was like Disney's Steven Universe or Disney's The Last Starfighter. This isn't like Disney's The Fugitive, which it was like kind of was in the trailers. It's more than that. It's more than that, and they do stick the landing, and Ke Huy Quan, always a delight no matter what he's in. So yeah, go watch it. Movie Talk Madness over, because we only have one review. But thanks for watching Movie Talk Madness. We're going to be getting into something a little quicker now, and I think you know what it means. I think we're going to get into quick hits. So let's turn on that music. Let's get that quick hits banner. Let's get Dan back into the Dan, if you're there, you can come back in. I don't know if you're there, but but let's get into the wonderful world of quick hits. Why
Let's do it.
God, I have so many things open. I apologize.
Wait, what kits? What? Oh, sorry, Caleb's having a moment. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So
there's not that many today, but there's some good ones. That's for sure.
Quick kits. But we do have a couple, and so there has been another casting for future cinematic masterpiece Shrek 5. But Marcello Hernandez and Skylar Gisondo, Jimmy Olsen's third leg, they are playing Shrek and Fiona's sons in Shrek 5. We knew that Zendaya was cast as the daughter, but we didn't know where. I'm like, where are the other two kids? Well, they cast them. Skylar Gisondo and Marcello Hernandez are playing their other. What was it, like Farkle and Fart or whatever the fuck their names are? Fergus and Farkle. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. All right, but like, I'm excited for this. I'm hyped. I'm stoked. Like, I am ready for. I don't care what anybody. Oh, the animation sucks. It looks stupid. I don't care. Shrek 5 is gonna be cinematic perfection, and I am stoked for it. Anyway, Dan, what are your thoughts on this?
No, this sounds fun. Look, Shrek 5, like, why is it not already here? Why did they delay it? Like, this movie should have been
because
made
we
10
figured
years
out
ago.
the plot and they have to go back and fucking rewrite it.
Yeah. Donkey. I need it. I need all of it. Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But next quick hit, apparently Disney be Disneying because Star Wars in Starfighter's entire third act has been reworked. Oh, Disney, you failed to not disappoint us. You know, but apparently it was much better than the original idea. But there was something unexpected on Starfighter. It was we had a whole different idea for something in the third act, and then things didn't align, and I was forced to come up with a new idea, and I'm literally right now shooting that section of the movie. So, yeah, Dan, thoughts on this? Does this make you worried for the film? Are you still excited? What's up?
Oh, look. Thank you, Caleb.
Okay.
Appreciate the sarcasm. I don't know enough about the movie to honestly tell you the difference, right? This is one of those situations where I'm sure the movie's gonna come out, and if it's good, nobody's gonna care, like, that they had an alternate ending. And then if it's bad, maybe people will be wondering, and then 5-10 years down the road, we might find out, like, oh, you know, originally we're gonna do this or that with it, and then people will judge that retroactively, but that's usually how it goes. Other than that, I don't really mind. Look, what was the reason? That, to me, the why of it all is more important than anything else. And does that mean it's more of a Kathleen Kennedy, the brain, like, you know, the brain trust of Lucasfilm stepping in and saying this, you know, we're doing something else, and so maybe you don't want to do whatever they were going to do in the third act quite the way they wanted to do it originally, or maybe it's something else. Maybe, look, it's not the first time that you would hear a filmmaker talk about that to change up something in the movie, because the way they originally imagined it, once they started filming the movie, it wasn't quite, the pieces weren't quite fitting the way they originally intended. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, I guess we'll know for sure really if it's a good thing or a bad thing once the movie comes out.
Right.
So.
Anyway, it also looks like Ryan Gosling doesn't have eyebrows in this pic. Anyway, but Zootopia 2 apparently had an unexpected cameo by Disney CEO Bob Iger in his first acting role. Did you catch his voice? But apparently, he worked as a weatherman in Ithaca, so apparently he was Bob Tiger in the movie. So yeah, that makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about it, that makes perfect sense. And he was there for like a line, so not a tiger, but a lion. But yeah, cool. I guess. Congrats, Bob Iger. Why did this need to happen? Anyway, next up, but your boy, hey Dan, Chris Nolan. We're talking about Christopher Nolan, so you can fucking jizz your pants and then come back online. So apparently Christopher Nolan was saying that they shot over 2 million feet of film. We did know this for the Odyssey, but then he let out more stuff where he said much of it was on the open ocean, which, you know, Steven Spielberg has always said is a big no-no. especially after what happened with Jaws. So he's like, don't do that. But Christopher Nolan's like, eat a dick, I'm going to do it anyway. So, you know,
It's
he
kinda wild,
he called
like,
the experience pretty primal as the cast faced real waves and shifting conditions, aiming to show how daunting and uncertain those early journeys were in an unmapped world. So, you know, pretty awesome.
It's kind of like, this is, again, just... He talks about like being a more of a throwback filmmaking style. I don't think they were doing this for Lawrence of Arabia, you know, like it's certainly not with the size of the IMAX cameras. I'm glad they figured out like that they're how to make them quieter, and they've been able to do the whole movie with it. But the scale of this thing is kind of insane. But also, it's one of those things where you actually, if you're on a real boat sloshing around in the middle of the ocean filming with real cameras. Yeah, it's an immersive experience for the actors. I bet it helps them with their performances, and at the end of the day, you see the end result. I think Nolan hasn't missed in I don't know, like 2 decades, so I'm not worried about this. Hi, Filmology.
I don't know, it depends on who you ask. Some people say he missed with Dark Knight Rises and Tenet, but, you know.
I personally don't think so, and I think the majority opinion would still lean towards, like, I think the Dark Knight Rises lands the plane on a trilogy
I think
better than
for
most
me,
superhero
I
movies,
wasn't a
so.
huge fan of Dunkirk. Like, I tried to get into it, but like I found the
That
plot
movie
overall
is-
confusing, but it's still okay. But in terms of like, thing is 1917 came out a year later, and then that just fucking blew it out of the water. So it just, you know.
Well, but they're 2 very different movies, though. I think Dunkirk represents, more than anything else, the complete embodiment of when Christopher Nolan tells you, like, if you're having a hard time hearing the dialogue, don't think about it. Just feel your way through it. Dunkirk is the most, you know, extreme example of that. Like, that movie is literally just a visual experience. There's barely any dialogue. It blew my ears out on IMAX. It's really worth watching on IMAX. It does sort of like, by making things non-chronological, it's sort of like you might feel like it's over the top, but like approaching something that's relatively straightforward and has been done as a movie before, the events of Dunkirk from World War II. But the way he does it, it makes a rather mundane part of, you know, like trying to evacuate. I mean, it's not mundane in the sense that there were literally, you know, thousands of soldiers who lost their lives and, you know, were trying to be rescued by the Allied forces off of the coast of France. But the idea was like, what would otherwise be a relatively mundane sequence of events in a larger movie about something that, you know, could be a love story or something that's happening in the context of World War II. Nolan was like, no, I'm going to take that mundane thing and turn it into something that's a visual cinematic experience. So for me, again, Dunkirk, I think, is one of his more underrated movies. But nonetheless, 1917 is a very different movie. I think it's like apples to oranges because of how the 2 movies are trying to accomplish 2 very different things.
I think at the basic level, like,
you know,
a survival movie that takes place during a war, I think those are very, like, they build upon those ideas very differently, but the oversimplification of both plots is essentially that.
Exactly.
So that's why I kind of compare the 2.
Yeah.
And as well as being so close in terms of release, so there's that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like calling Avatar movies Fern Gully.
Sure. But speaking of Nolan, we did mention this before. Apparently, there is going to be a 6-minute prologue of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey coming to select IMAX 70mm screenings December 12th. So, you know, it's now apparently we're going to be seeing a footage a week earlier on December 12th in front of showings of Sinners and One Battle After Another. Ironic because it's a Universal movie after Nolan was like, fuck you, Warner Brothers, and left. So it apparently they said they got a sneak peek from Empire Magazine's cover story on the film, and you know, they talked about this, but considering that this is coming from World of Real, which they are notorious for writing BS, I would say take this with a big
but this
grain
is,
of salt.
I will say this though, some of this information is corroborated in the sense they are pulling Empire Magazine, right? Like that's It's legit.
But they
like,
that's I can't go like it's like the rap saying, "Oh yeah, Brainiac is definitely going to be the villain of Man of Tomorrow." Meanwhile, it's like, "Oh, we definitely were in contact with James Gunn, and he definitely said that he's definitely the villain." It's just like, okay.
No, but they didn't. Well, but no, nobody said that. I think it was their reporting, like their sources that they don't cite. I'm just gonna say this: this information is corroborated from enough sources that you can believe that whether we're getting an extended preview or a proper prologue, the exact runtime, I don't know if you want to go off of this as an exact number, but whether it's 5 minutes or 6 minutes or more than 3 minutes and whatever the total number of minutes is, it looks like we're going to be getting a pretty extended preview of the movie, one of the biggest movies of next year. And that, in addition to Avengers Doomsday, Avatar. If you're going to be watching Avatar Fire and Ash in theaters, you'll get like 2 very, very important, valuable previews, and this being one of them. So, I mean, this, by the way, is only for 70mm IMAX. So it's, I mean, the trailer they're gonna attach to Avatar: Fire and Ash is a different version than what.
Honestly, even though I'm actually excited for Brave New World, the Odyssey is gonna fucking be the better movie. So like, come on. Anyway, but that's it for Quick Hits. So. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching Quick Hits. Thanks for watching the news portion of this wonderful little show that we have. Obviously, we're not done yet, because after this, we have DCU Daily, and then, of course, we are going to then stop the main show, and then we are going to get Fancast Friday. We're going to talk about Edgar Wright. Very exciting. So get pumped for that. And with all of that and more, let's be #blessed, guys.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Perfect. But welcome, guys. Welcome back to DCU Daily. Here we are. We're having a whole bunch of fun things for you today. Not a ton, but enough. And I'm your host, John. Nice to see you. And of course, we got Dan. Dan, what are you excited to talk about today? In terms of the very limited stories we have.
It's not that limited. I mean,
not that limited, but you know, there's could be more.
Well, I mean, you know, the thumbnail and the title of the show is all about the DCU slate update, and we've been sitting on that now for almost 2 hours into the show, and I want to talk about that. So that's what I'm most excited about. But there's a bunch of other stuff we get to before we get into the main stories.
And that is balloons.
Yeah.
Very much balloons.
We started off talking about the Thanksgiving Day parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving parade.
Yes.
So here we go.
But you know, apparently, you know, Superman has scored way more than just this year, but many years. So apparently, you know, it's been going from 1940, which I think that was the year the initial film serial came out. So you had that, and then you had the 1940 version. There he is in all of his glory. Here it is in, you know, color. And then here is Superman, where he looks like he's got some titties there. Like he, you know, here he is from 1966 to
That's a different kind of bulge.
But you know, I mean, this was an older time. They were trying to figure out the balloon thing. Maybe they overfilled it. So, you know, we'll see. But then here he is. Jeez, and the face looks like the kid's cute. I will say the kid is cute down there. Like that's
I
nice.
like it. That's a good photo. That's
a very very good photo. And here he is from 1980 to 1987. So this was at the height of, your boy right here. We have this wonderful Superman just doing the, arms in front, flying, makes sense. And they gave him a cape this time. I don't think the other ones had a cape. And the more classic crest. So here he is. Oh, isn't he? Oh, honestly, that's a really good shot. Like, yeah, the silhouette and then the bright blue sky. That's like a Superman poster right there. Like that's Kino.
We had a Superman poster like that.
In like 30 fucking almost 40 years since we've seen Superman as a balloon. It's like, guys, the movie just came out. Give my boy his balloon back. Damn, guys, come on.
What?
Give Superman his balloon back. Fuck Goofy and Pikachu and all those fuckers. I want Superman to get a balloon back at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
What are you asking me to do that? Like,
no, I'm just saying in general. Like, I'm just saying, hey, Macy's, bring it back. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, they should. I mean, well, that's probably also a Warner Brothers thing. It's probably a licensing thing too. So
yeah, well, fuck them. So Zaslav, before you sell your company to some fascist asshole, fucking give them the license to make the balloon.
Yep.
But very lovely to see. We love our boy and Superman forever. But that's not the only thing we have. We have more Instagram stuff. We got some VFX. We did talk about this a couple shots the other day. We looked at Superman in a bald cap and all that fun stuff. But here is more of them. I think this is fake. I think this is just somebody put green screen on the character and then that's it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they did shoot it because the background doesn't quite look the same. They got it for reference. They maybe wanted the proportions right. It feels goofy. That's for sure. Yeah.
But here we have again, just like before, VFX is just really funny. They got rid of the progressive sign. They put another ad up there, but here is
it makes sense. Progressive,
engineer and Soups fighting in the Metropolis Meteor Stadium. Then here, oh god, that looks honestly, both these shots look fucking cool as shit. And look at we have the Fortress of Solitude down here. You have, for the most part, a practical set, but then extra. I think we did see this shot.
We did talk about.
I think we did talk about this one. Then this is when we talk about with him in the fucking condom he's wearing on his head. But it makes sense when you think about it. It's just
the hair. It makes sense.
They have to CGI the hair because it's wind is blowing in his hair, and they're not going to just put a leaf blower in his face and just be like.
Well, but if they did, it doesn't turn out as well as you'd expect. That.
Yeah, I think doesn't feel those guys.
You can't replicate
they
that
talk
speed.
about the VFX,
the Collider, the not Collider, Corridor Crew.
Yeah,
I've seen.
I like talking.
Yeah,
they talk good stuff.
Exactly.
I catch their shorts from time to time, but they were talking about hey, yeah, if you try to do this effect practically, it just doesn't work. No. So that's why Christopher Reeve's hair was slicked back with fucking oil. It looked like his hair was filled with used motor oil because they had to just stick it there because it's just if they try to do it like that, it wouldn't work. So.
No, it makes sense. That's also, you look at how they did it with Man of Steel. The way they shot it in Man of Steel was using a telephoto lens, so you don't see as much of the detail. It's really zoomed in a lot of the time. And even in Aquaman, we saw that in Aquaman, they had the CGI hair.
Well, when you think about it, it's they have to make sure the hair is blowing. It's it's works with the direction that he's flying.
Exactly. So not only that, but John, here's the thing. The biggest thing with Superman is a reef blower is not going to replicate the speed at which Superman is going to be flying. Not to mention
and
the direction,
where the hair is blowing, and it just wouldn't look right.
It doesn't look right. Exactly. So, and it just makes more sense. And nowadays the technology is good enough. You can do it in CGI and it looks seamless. It looks seamless. Even though you know that it's not real, it looks like it's real. It's photo real. So, yeah.
And here's, again, mostly practical, but then they put the more crystals in the background and the engineer flying up and, make, having the nodes throughout, the practical Kryptonian computer is pretty Pretty awesome looking. And before it's just like nothing and then crypto. But yeah, obviously crypto was all CGI and he looked magnificent.
That was probably one of the
he is.
easiest comps that they did in the entire movie, like putting crypto in the shot where literally it's just Superman dirty over the shoulder shot of snow. Like it's
Yeah, and
like,
then here, you
that's
know,
like
you
a
have
CG,
the
VFX artist, like boop, 1 hour's work done.
Mr. Terrific aura farming to Noah and the whale. That scene
And then it's CGI
it's
set
honestly
extension there.
looks similar, but like, you know, color grading and like slight differences here and there, but for the most part it looks the same. It looks really good. And then the kaiju, which again looks like a practical miniature or something, and then they CGI'd it and now he's blowing fire and all that, but that looks really fucking cool. Then boom, there's that. Boom, and then you have more skyscrapers in the background to make it look more like a city. Since Cleveland and you know, Cincinnati they don't have like a ton of skyscrapers like New York, so they wanted to make it like more skyscraper heavy. Then you have the stuff like the Event Horizon in the prison dimension, looking great.
I don't believe this one either. That thing is completely CGI. So I don't understand why there's a reference for one or the other. It's not like you're making 2001: Space Odyssey where they did it practically.
I have no idea, but I mean, I could see like the cubes being like 3D printed or something, maybe.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know how much of that you're actually keeping in there. Like majority of that shit is like completely taken out. Maybe some of it is there.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you
this. By the way, so the
CGI
process for
monkeys.
this. Okay, so this process I think was. I don't think the monkey at the top image is real either. I think this was like a CG, like they'd created a CGI model of a monkey that they could in real time composite onto like a real actor. Like I think James Gunn just sitting in front of a computer and making all the faces. We've seen that in the blooper reel or somebody else doing it. And they had the technology nowadays, like it's accessible enough. I mean, certainly for studios as well as for even like people like us, where you can in real time using tracking without even having dots necessarily, like tracking markers, the camera in 3D space can track a person and then be able to take the facial movements and everything and the basic, you know, structure of the person, like the rig, and apply it to like a CGI model. And so you can, it's kind of like, you know how in Zoom you have those, even Zoom has this now, where you can turn on your avatar mode and you can literally just look like an animated person on Zoom. So it's a more advanced version of that, but they can shoot this.
I mean,
like,
yeah, we all know it's gonna go to fucking fire and ash,
right?
But
it's right, but and it's actually, you know what, kind of similar to the technology that they developed with the Avatar. Not exactly the same, but similar enough, where you're shooting their performance, and then you know it sort of translates it across, and then you use that as reference for the animators who are going to then go and do the totally CGI version of it. But then this way they get the shot composition reference from James Gunn and the filmmaking crew. They also get a rough idea of what they want the monkey's movements to be like. Obviously they're going to try to make it more realistic, smooth out the animation and all that. And then the composition is different, like the background and everything looks different. So so it's not really your traditional, you know, take a real monkey and make him animated. It's a little bit more to it than that, but that's, you know, I'm trying to TLDR it for you guys, and hopefully that made sense. But yeah, it's kind of cool how this is being used.
And then they kind of do the same thing here, where it's just like I kind of don't, but like it just looks like somebody just like,
particularly like the baby, like I don't like really know like why you would need that to be a real thing in the first place. Although,
but the thing is, the baby looks the same, so like
I don't.
It just looks like somebody like took the green paint bucket and like painted it green. It's like, this is the before, and it's just like I don't know if I believe that. And then you know the crypto once again, there he is
again, one of the easiest shots. Literally just plop crypto on top, although it's not as easy as you would think,
because Alex Ross makes his stuff look realistic. James Cameron isn't really making his stuff look realistic. It's like he's making it look like a world, but it still looks fake. It just looks really nice. So
I would just say though, this shot is actually a little low key underrated. That this isn't as simple as just plop Crypto on top of Superman's chest and that's it, because when you have Crypto, an animated CGI Crypto on Superman, the real like a live action Superman shot, there you need to be able to kind of like put it together, and then the way the light reflects off of Superman's chest would be different, because now that one half of Superman's chest is a little more in darkness and shadow. So there's a little bit of compositing work being done here to adjust for that, for Crypto shadow to land. You could see the two shots aren't exactly the same. They probably did almost an entirely they probably did a full paint out where they were, only have the background plate of like what's behind Superman. They probably shot it multiple times, so they have the reference for actual David Cornsweet in a suit, and you could tell that they probably just redid the suit there in this close-up shot, or some combination of it, where they're match moving it in a CGI element into the live action shot, and then they have Crypto on top, so that the lighting all lines up. Basically, I think this is just more of like the photorealistic lighting effect, because otherwise, I mean, even though they shot it like it's very directional lighting, so you could potentially plop just Crypto on there, and then the one side of Superman's chest is already dark, but still to make it look seamless, they probably did a little bit of replacement work here. So there's again more going on here than meets the eye, but it's still cool. It looks nice. I love the CGI, well, just VFX before and after breakdowns. They're very informative, because again, there's a lot of shots in these movies. I mean, the Crypto shots are obviously there's CGI in there, because Crypto in the movie was not, it was pretty much CGI the whole time. But there's probably thousands of other shots in Superman that we don't realize have any CGI or VFX work being done in it, and it does. So you just gotta appreciate the work that the people put in. A lot of them underworked, overpaid. So I appreciate, and I always look for that artistry. And again, James Gunn appreciates that, and he's one of those filmmakers who gives the artists enough time to do their work and get it right. And we all know what it looks like when they don't get the time to get to make it good and make it right. So yeah, you guys let us know, what do you think about all these before and after shots of the VFX. I think these are all pretty gosh darn good. And it goes to show you that Superman's VFX, they were some of the best of the year. I don't know if it's going to win an Oscar for it, anything like that. Like you guys were talking about, is probably going to be something that Avatar has a more of a shot at it. But yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Superman certainly, I think, is going to be not animated, but nominated for most of the categories for VFX. But whether it will win or not, we'll find out. But we know it's already nominated and has been nominated for several awards. So
yeah,
the Crypto VFX was
we are going to get into that
epic.
soon enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I'm eating bread right now, if anybody's wondering. If anybody cares, that's what I'm eating. Because I wanted some bread.
Yeah.
It's caramel brioche Pepperidge Farm.
Oh, damn. That's
bread.
not just regular bread, though. That's like bread with stuff and flavor in it. Yeah, stuff in it.
Like flavor spot. Flavor. We're going to Flavor Town, guys.
Yeah, and then MF Alpha, you're right. They did use 2 to 3 dogs. I mean, they had multiple reference dogs. Like
I know Ozu and one other white dog were the reference boys.
Yeah, although the other other dog was pretty big.
I'm probably not gonna fucking go to sleep till like 5 a.m. anyway. Don't be my fucking dad. Like, goddamn.
Tell him, Ron. I'm just kidding. I don't really have a horse in this. But we should keep on moving and keep on grooving.
Yes. Anyway, so the next thing we have is more Instagram stuff. So get that the fuck out of here. But apparently, Dan was talking about this before, but how we do have, for 3 ways Superman's flight was filmed. We had the immersive intimacy, grounded realism, and aggressive intensity.
I mean, not only that, John, but I think the significance of this is you look at the lenses that they're using. Obviously, they also use different cameras, right? And then there are different cameras from, not entirely like, I mean, between Man of Steel and Superman, there's not as much of a gap, so you can have a similar, or if not the same, camera body available. Although we know they use different cameras. We know they use mostly, I think it was like Red cameras or like other Sony cameras, for filming. Superman from this year? Man of Steel, I feel like they probably use RE cameras. I don't know which specific one. And then I bet you back in the day with Superman the movie, with Christopher Reeve, they'll probably use older RE cameras or Panavision, like, just depending on if I think it's shot it on film. So the camera body itself, the sensor and all that matters, like if it's on film or digital. Like we know Superman and Man of Steel were shot digitally. The Superman was shot on film back in the day, on Superman the movie, I should say. But all three of these styles work in their own ways. It also goes to, I think here they're showing you the different camera lenses change the effect that you have in the relationship of the audience with the subject on screen. And they're all great in their own way, like Enterprising is saying, because the 16 to 21 millimeter, what does it say here? Immersive intensity, because that's a wide angle lens. It brings you close to Superman.
Intimacy. But
immersive intimacy, because it fills the frame. It's very cinematic in the sense that it's this wide angle shot, but Superman's in your face, so you're getting really great access to his eyes and his emotions, but at the same time you're getting this full frame of action both in front of you in the foreground and the background. You get the flowing hair, you get the cape, you're seeing the background move, and it's dynamic. It's not just like in one straight direction. And then with Superman the movie, 30 to 50 millimeter is much more in the range for what is considered to be our natural vision focal length. Like our eyes tend to see somewhere between the 30 to 50 millimeter range, more or less. So it feels much more like, what is this? Grounded realism, right? Like it's more of an approximation of how we see in the real world, like how humans see. So when you look at somebody in front of you, it's gonna look closest in terms of proportions with the similar distortions to how our eyes show it to us, the world around us. And that's what Superman the movie gave us. Whereas then with Man of Steel, again with Zack Snyder, with the 70 millimeter telephoto lens, you get the aggressive intensity where it definitely feels like you're observing this larger than life, person flying around and doing it in this insane capacity where he's clearly flying faster than the speed of sound, all the wind and everything. And so you're getting this very, it's also a Dutch angle in the sense that it's never quite like a level, whereas the other two feel like they kind of go between the, being Dutch angles and being more straight on. And at the same time, it's pretty zoomed in. And also with 70 millimeter, it kind of flattens out a lot of things. Like whereas with the 16 to 21, you see the distortion, like the face, it's got the iPhone lens effect. The 30 to 50 millimeter is more of that natural look, like the way we see things in the real world. And with Man of Steel, you're seeing, again, it still brings you really close, but at the same time, it has this larger than life impact. And it with the camera shake and stuff, it completely changes. Again, 3 Superman, they're shot completely differently with different camera lenses, and also color grading has an impact, and like I said, the camera that they use itself. But it's just, again, it's fun to see how these choices that these filmmakers make changes the way we perceive and the movie, and how it impacts us, and also how we experience the storytelling that's on screen. Because you will have, I mean, despite the fact that they're all Superman or Supermen, whatever you want to call them, watching the 3 of them in these sequences, you get 3 different sets of emotions. Like with I love Man of Steel. And even people who don't love Man of Steel love the flight sequence. Like a lot of people are like, that's one of the best parts of the movie, not only for the soundtrack, but also just you get the jubilation, you get Henry Cavill smiling and having fun as Superman. And then of course
which
with Christopher
was
Reeve,
kind of lost in later movies.
Okay, I think Batman v Superman went way too dark.
It's so fun. You know what's so funny about like Man of Steel versus BVS? Everyone said that, oh, he's a mope, he's boring, and all this other stuff in Man of Steel. Yeah, I mean, that movie has tons of problems, but like honestly, Superman is the most jovial in Man of
Henry
Steel
Cavill Superman
than he is in BVS and Justice League.
Absolutely.
Either cut. Like it's so funny, like, oh, he's so mopey in the first one. It's like he's really not. And
He's
then in
very well
BVS, they
rounded
make
in
him a
the
mope.
movie.
He's like,
Yeah.
he's just like, Superman was never real. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like, now
It's
you're
not my
making him a
world.
mope.
My world died with crypto, whatever he said. Like, I mean, ultimately, like, he has the thing, like, this is my world, like, the whole moment of, like, you know, truth at the end. So they pay it off, but they have to, like, really drag him down pretty low for that. And then, you know, Zack Snyder's obsession with the nightmare future also made it dark because you get to see an evil Superman, which, again, you know, it's in the comics, but anyway. Yeah, like there's a difference though, right? Like you're feeling three different sets of emotions. Also, where they are in the movie, because the scenes that you're seeing in the middle with Christopher Reeve are sort of like a montage of the different sequences across the entire film. With the one with Superman from this year is definitely from the beginning of the movie. So you're like, let's get into this thing. We have already seen some, you know, fantastic sequences, and now the movie's only just starting. Whereas Man of Steel, I think the Man of Steel sequence is the most emotionally resonant because it's at a time in the movie where you've already been sitting there, and now Superman for the first time is flying, and there's a lot of build up to it. You really learn who Clark is, and Clark find out who he is as Kal-El and all of that, building up to the whole flight sequence. And it starts off with, you know, him taking these giant leaps rather than straight up flying.
I will say,
which
someone
pays
actually
homage
did
to his origins.
As great as the score for, you know, as great as Hans Zimmer's score, somebody did that scene, but with the John Williams score, and it was so tonally different, but it like still worked. Just goes to show how fucking amazing the John Williams score is. But like, it's very interesting how it does work. Like for instance, you remember the scene where he like crashes into the mountain? Well, what this person did, they made it kind of more of like a tongue-in-cheek funny thing where it was like they stopped the music and it's like a Marx Brothers bit, and then he climbs up, and then it's like this whole thing. So it's just like interesting how the emotions are different and how you can make certain things even in editing, like just editing the music in at certain spots, like turn serious moments into funny moments. So that was also, I think it was A Deal of Steel that did it, if I remember, or maybe it was Ultra Sergeant or KR Presents. I forget who did it, but they did a really good I think it might have been Ultra Sergeant, but they did that really well, and really like
it's also like it's that whole thing of there's a reason why they do the scoring for the movie after you have picture lock, because then the beats line up with the action on screen. So Flight, the way it's composed by Hans Zimmer and the orchestra he worked with, or, you know, he made the composition, and the way it's performed and recorded and then, you know, presented in the movie is specific to the way it's, you know, it's shot and ultimately edited together in Man of Steel. So the beats line up perfectly. So if John Williams were to adapt his score for that sequence, it would obviously be a little bit different than the sequences where we have seen it in those Superman movies back in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, no, it's great. I mean, also I think it's a test of the fact that it works so well with both is a testament to the vision for Superman that they had. And again, I will give credit where credit is due. I think to Zack Snyder as a filmmaker there, and also to the writers of Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel has some good, you know, incredibly good writing, especially compared to, like, I think Batman v Superman goes in a different direction, and I think it's a valid direction for me at least, and I liked it, but it has its problems clearly. But I thought Man of Steel was the better movie because it gave us a more well-rounded, you know, Superman, Clark Kent, and Kal-El, like explored all three sides of this person in a way that I just don't think we ever got again in the DCU, which I think, well, DCEU, which was a travesty, that we never got to have, you know, Henry Cavill explore the character of Clark and Kal-El and Superman in the way that they did Man of Steel. And some people thought they didn't do enough in Man of Steel. I'm like, well, they did a lot more than they did in those future movies, because he always had to share the spotlight with other, you know, characters, and even though he was given top billing each time, you just never got enough of him. So I think like Man of Steel 2 would have, I still to this day is one of those missed opportunities. And again, that's one of those things where the DCEU is no longer with us because they made some big missteps. Like, they should have done a Man of Steel 2. Ben Affleck should have had a Batman movie, you know, and those are two, like, one, you know, filmmaking 101 situations. If you're building a cinematic universe, your two biggest characters, right? So, but anyway, that's in the past. I digress. But it goes to show you again how the filmmakers' choices make a real difference in the movies that they make, and then how we as audiences perceive, the visuals and the audio and everything, just the whole experience of what we ultimately end up getting when we're watching a movie. So, and these are some, there's some very intentional choices. It's not an accident that they use the equipment that they use to film things the way that they did. So.
But remember, DCEU is dead. Bury it. Consider it mercy. For new things, we have Superman. And apparently it got nominated for 3 Astra Creative Arts Awards, including Best Visual Effects. So, hell yeah. Way to go, Superman. We love to see it. And thank you for a brilliant movie and brilliant visual effects that get nominated. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna look this up. Actually,
he's really not like, we make fun of Dan for in Man of Steel, but he prefers it, but he's not crying over it. That's not
Look,
even
and you know
close
what,
to what's
Ron?
happening.
There's literally nothing wrong with me loving Man of Steel and the DCEU and wanting
what could have been. I think about that sometimes. Oh, what could have been? I agree. We should have gotten a Man of Steel 2 before we went into BVS, but I think that was out of Zack Snyder's hands. So,
I think it was some things were forced upon him, and then he kind of made the best of what he had.
But Ron, you're very much wrong. That's not Dan crying. He's just reminiscing, my guy. He's all right. Only I can make fun of Dan and maybe Caleb, but that's it. Okay.
Yeah. What I was gonna say though about the Astra Creative Awards, because you might be wondering what the hell is an Astra. Well, the Astra Awards, this is according to their website, the Astra Awards are proudly presented by the Hollywood Creative Alliance, an organization composed of industry professionals, including critics, journalists, actors, producers, podcasters, publicists, writers, and other creatives across the entertainment landscape. At the heart of the Hollywood Creative Alliance is a mission to build a collaborative and inclusive community, one where all voices are welcomed, amplified, and celebrated. So it looks like, they have a very, very diverse membership, and this is, again, being awarded by your own peers. Creative arts, film, podcast, television, those are the different areas that they cover. So Superman is being nominated in the Creative Arts Awards, and I think in previous years, recently, I think Angela Bassett won for her Black Panther Wakanda Forever performance, and I'm pretty sure Brendan Fraser won for The Whale. RRR won, Coda, which was the Oscar-winning movie, won. So yeah, this is good. This is good news, because I don't know if this is going to inform much about award seasons proper, but Superman getting nominated at least means that their effects were some of the best of the year. So good for them. And ILM here, ILM is doing the shout out here, and they've also attached the guy who was the visual effects director, who specifically worked on this movie for who's also, by the way, the same person who worked on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with James Gunn. So again, one of the James Gunn working with the same folks who has worked with over at the MCU with the Guardians movies. So yeah, this is great to see, and we hope that Superman picks up a few more trophies in award season coming up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
But congrats.
Thanks for coming for my defense, guys.
Yeah. So fuck you, Ron. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, look, I'm down for a spirited debate. And it's all right. We have different opinions in some ways. That's okay. That's what we're here for. It's having these different opinions is what makes the world a better place.
I mean, we also have hot take debate that we need to bring back.
Oh boy. We have almost literally fought over those takes, so I can't wait for that to be back.
No, that goes literally against the whole fucking point of Zootopia. So
that would be probably when they're on Zootopia 6 and they're running out of ideas. Then they'll probably do something. That would be
with the post-credit scene, which is at the end of Zootopia 2. They do plan, if they are getting a sequel, which if this is making over $1 billion, it definitely is. Hopefully sooner rather than later. They are. It seems like with the post-credit scene, they are planning to do something for the third movie that will bring in a new idea of
Right.
what to tackle.
Yeah, and you know what? That's good because, like you said, like while the second Zootopia movie that's out right now does build upon the first, if they keep repeating the same shtick per se over time, like, and that's not to say like the idea of building your movie around saying racism is bad and doing it through allegory. Plenty of movies TV shows have done it over the years. There's nothing wrong with doing that multiple times, but like if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're gonna end up in a situation where after Shrek's fourth movie, they needed like a 20-year break because they ran out of ideas. So freshening things up, like also with Toy Story, clearly Toy Story 4 was a bit of a dip. So now with Toy Story 5, they're going in a new direction, and so far the premise looks promising. So hopefully they'll do something similar with Zootopia 3. So yeah.
Yes, but we do have more to talk about, of course, and we have some fun fan art to talk about that James Gunn shared, and it's from Dick Tracy Rogues Gallery, where he did like kind of like an old comic book style.
I've been seeing this. This is great because he's posted so many of these, and the fact that James Gunn picked this one out to highlight, I don't know what that says.
So, well, the fact that we're getting a Supergirl movie, I don't know, but Superman, Supergirl, Mr. Terrific, him on that dog, man. But yeah, absolutely lovely to see. And he did, and apparently with the Led Zeppelin song "Thank You," he did give this a share and a credit to the original poster. So he shared it on his Instagram stories. So yeah, nice, wonderful. Thanks, James Gunn. We appreciate that. But we're going into,
as the kids would say, that is goated.
That is goated. You know what else is goated? Not lanterns, because it's probably going to suck. But the next thing we have to share is lanterns, because James Gunn may be bringing two of the most unpopular Green Lantern costumes into the DCU. So, apparently, we did briefly talk about this, in regards to the trailer being shown at HBO Max's Upfront event in Sao Paulo. And two versions of the footage have seemingly done the rounds, with one of them briefly spotlighting the Green Lantern Corps uniforms worn by Hal Jordan and John Stewart. Matthias Lertora, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, I apologize, who writes for Cines Argentinos and various other outlets, has refused to specify what he saw, but previously said that it's based on the design of a specific comic, but not the same. After hinting that the designs might be divisive, the prevailing theory online is that DC Studios and James Gunn are adapting the costumes first featured in the Green Lantern Earth 1 comic. However, after it was put to him that it sounds like we may be getting CG suits like those seen in 2011's Green Lantern rather than Earth 1, the reporter responded with a firm no. So, it seems like they are going for more of like a practicality sort of thing, especially with the vibe of the overall show is more True Detective than like space. Or as Tim Curry would say, spice, in Command and Conquer. So that was probably too loud at 1:30 in the morning. But well, as we know, Guy Gardner only really wears regular clothes designed by Maxwell Lord, but in the comics, he wears the uniforms the Green Lanterns are made with their rings, so they don't usually look practical. But after the ongoing fucking hatred of the CG suits from the 2011 Green Lantern, which makes sense. I still don't get why fucking people hated them so goddamn much. But
hey, Steven, and here wear the cape.
But yeah, Reddit's going crazy with them. But it seems like they're going with the vibe of like the more practical space suit of like Green Lantern Earth 1. I actually have Green Lantern Earth 1. I haven't read it yet, but
hey,
I do
look,
have
Ron and
it,
I agree on this. I'm pretty sure Guy Gardner is biting the dust in this show.
If I'm just gonna say this, I'm going to say this right now. If Guy Gardner is the person they kill off, which I would bet on, because Tom King is a dumbass piece of shit numbnuts motherfucker, I'm not watching the rest of the show. If Guy Gardner is the one that dies, I'm not watching the show. I will actually stop it the moment he dies, and then I'm done. I'm boycotting Lanterns. I'm not watching it. I'm just gonna say that right fucking now. Now, I have stated that the vibe from the trailer doesn't fit the leaks that happened, which didn't have Guy Gardner dying. I'm not gonna say who it was in case the leaks are true, but the murder in the American Heartland was not Guy Gardner, so that's the thing I'm hoping for, even though the overall vibe is not great. But if like the thing is, Guy Gardner was a gigantic fan favorite from Superman, and I feel like James Gunn would have known that, especially with casting his friend Nathan Fillion. So if you do all of that and then you're killing off Guy like immediately and then his next appearance, then you're like, again, the DCU is gonna be, you're already poisoning the well. I'm just gonna say that, right? You're poisoning the well, and it's essentially like, oh, then the next episode we're killing Mr. Terrific. It's like, oh, we're doing a JSA movie and we're gonna immediately kill Mr. Terrific. It's
just to say, okay, the
I don't
reason,
know.
so where this originates from, I think, again, this is not even a rumor. It's just more like my hunch, and a few other people have said this, where it's like a, you know, true detective murder mystery show, essentially. So we're thinking that the big murder mystery is who killed Guy Gardner. Otherwise, why have two lanterns, and be investigating this, one of them being more of a trainee, no less. And if you believe these reports, then that trainee is being trained by Hal Jordan, because Hal Jordan is stepping in for somebody else. So who is he stepping in for? Like, we didn't hear Guy Gardner being a was Guy Gardner that mentor? Or was it somebody else? Was it Sinestro? Like, who, like, what's the who, what, and the whys of it all? Obviously the show is going to talk about it, but that's where that comes from. So yeah, I guess we'll find out.
The thing is, I can see coma, because that's what happens in the comics, is that Guy Gardner was the original backup to Hal Jordan, because way back when you had like two Green Lanterns. One was the main Green Lantern with the ring, and then you would have a backup in case anything happens to the mainline Green Lantern. Now, initially it was Guy Gardner, but then he received a blow to the head and was in a coma. And so there was that, and so they had to pick a new one, and that became John Stewart. And then something happens in the comics that both of them had to be Green Lantern at some point. So someone is going to die, because that's what's the inciting incident of the show, apparently, is that somebody dies, and it's so big that the Green Lanterns have to investigate it. So, you know, it's yeah.
I'm trying to think of like a funky, like a funny quip that Horatio would say, and then just be like, looks like this is a mystery for the Lanterns. And like, you know, we just get into the CSI Miami intro. Like, I hope like that. I know this is not what we're going for with the show, but I totally want that. Like, I would love that. Bane will break you, his hair. Guy is gonna be found in his back broken in half. Don't look at Bane. It's not he didn't do it. He's not Guy Gardner's reckoning. But
yeah, I know
hey,
Nia Mazursky's dead, but like it would just be so stupid to see. I think she was around for a season. Yeah, she was kind of likable, and she didn't really like do much. But like it would be. So she's not like a fan favorite. She was there for 8 episodes, and we didn't really get to know her character until the very last episode, where she dies. So, you know, it's that's the wrong Green Lantern. Anyway.
I think that Green Lantern is going to be in the animated show, which is not in the DCU. Okay, but getting back to the suits, though, Johnny, are you able to pull up the suits of the Earth 1 suits by any chance?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it right here.
But you know what the reason why people are also thinking about this is because this is
the main kind of
but like this is the artwork that they shared at that initial DCU announcement. So this, I mean, it's been in front of us this whole time. If that is what they're going with, remember when they announced it with that whole James Gunn announcement about the slate, the DCU slate a couple of years ago, this was the artwork that we got for the Lanterns reveal. So, yeah, I mean, regardless of who dies, which I guess we'll find out somebody obviously significant, maybe seemingly insignificant in the beginning, and we find out like there's more to it, like what these shows usually do. But as far as the suits go, it's been in front of us, in front of our eyes the whole time. Maybe we didn't take it as literally as we were meant to. And also, it doesn't mean that these suits will be one-to-one the Earth 1 suits. There might be some sort of halfway between the Earth 1 suits from the comics and then like some of the more other traditional Green Lantern suits. I, for one, I never thought that the CGI suit for Green Lantern in 2011 movie was bad. Quite frankly, is one of the most impressive pieces of CGI work like any superhero movie has done in the last 20 years. It was done really well. And I liked it. I mean, just because Ryan Reynolds has, made it a punchline for the last 10 or so years doesn't make it bad. I think objectively it was pretty good. A little over the top. It worked for that movie's tone. Clearly, this show's tone is a little more darker and grounded. So them going with something that's a bit more practical, less CGI involved, just means it's also for a TV show. They have less money to spend on it, like you said, John, the budget. So going with something that's more practical makes sense. And I personally don't mind it. Like, if this is what they start off with, we already know what Guy Gardner's suit looks like in the DCU, and that's not very CGI heavy at all. Like, so it wouldn't be the first time we see a Lantern in this new universe that has a suit which has got minimal CGI to it. And we have already seen the Guy Gardner's constructs being very traditional Green Lantern constructs. So, with line with his personality. So I'm sure we're gonna get to see these lanterns use their powers. It's just a matter of how much and how often they use them. That's the thing. I think people might be a little disappointed with how much of the Green Lanterns that we expect to see them lanterning the way that we want to see them, do in this show. Maybe there'll be more in plain street clothes than there will be in their costumes and fighting aliens. But we know there's going to be aliens in the show. Like, they've literally cast actors in roles which we know they're going to be aliens, whether they look like aliens or they look humanoid or they are in human form or whatever the case might be. This show is going to be some sort of a halfway measure between a True Detective proper and, like, True Detective, but with, like, spacefaring cops, literally. So I still have faith, John, but, like, I know you're a little more on the, not on the, would you say you're on the fence or you're on off
No,
the
I
fence
have
and firmly on
no
the,
I have no expectations for this show.
okay.
Like, I'm just like, I'll watch it for this show, but like I have nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I have no
Yeah.
excitement whatsoever.
Yeah, I think the internet's uproar about the whole idea of like, why is it not a traditional suit? But like, you also don't want it to be a CGI story. I'm like, what is a traditional Green Lantern suit kind of thing, right? Like, we have had these, and again, this is not I'm not taking a shot at anybody in particular. And sorry, I know your comment is up on Screen Enterprising, but like, we talk about it with Superman. Like, what was it? Was it Bryan Singer was asked years ago when he was making Superman Returns? Like, is it going to be a traditional Superman suit? And he was like, what is traditional? Like, what's like, there's been a million different designs, like literally dozens. And James Gunn has addressed it in kind of the same way in the past couple of years, talking about the Superman costume, the suit that we have gotten in the new movie. So we're going to get probably a version of the suits in this show, and then that will evolve over time. So I wouldn't say that what we're getting here is what we're going to be stuck with, because it's already going to be the second different design. I thought the biggest thing we got out of it was the idea that Chip the Green Lantern might be a thing in the DCU. So if this is the same universe that Guy Gardner exists in, where Superman fights kaijus and there is a Chip the Squirrel Green Lantern, hopping around somewhere, then yeah, I mean, they're gonna try to make it grounded, and it will probably feel like a show that doesn't quite take place in space and, Guardians of the Galaxy like. But it doesn't mean these lanterns won't end up in space at some point fighting aliens and, using their Green Lantern powers. So it's just a matter of how much of that we're going to see in the show. But James Gunn has tried his best to calm people's nerves. But hey, maybe John's approach is the way to go. Just have no expectations, and then if it impresses the hell out of you, then you know what? It's going to feel all that much better. Because like, I feel like a lot of people did not have the kind of expectations for the Penguin as we now do for a potential season 2 of the Penguin, because of how
Right.
effing good the first season was. So it could be that this could deliver. It's still an HBO show. HBO has a pretty high bar, so I do trust that at least. And of course, James Gunn is in charge, and we're going to talk about it in a moment, but he's still involved with this, even though he's not directing it and he's not writing it. He's still ultimately calling the shots. So this is going to have James Gunn's, stamp of approval. So if you trust in James Gunn, then you should trust that this will end up being still hopefully a good show. Yeah.
Nice. But obviously we have more to talk about. The main thing in terms of what is in the title of this DCU Daily, and that is, of course, sharing updates on the DCU slate and Batman Part 2 and, of course, Supergirl. So he had this to say. I'm just going to read it because the tweet is kind of hard to read.
James Gunn's just like talking about like all the million things he's doing all at once.
Yes. The fun of the job is there is no average day. The majority of days currently are spent prepping Man of Tomorrow, storyboarding, as he did post those a couple days ago, department meetings and scouting and casting, and interspersed with going through over cuts of Supergirl and Lanterns, discussing marketing on all the projects, reading and making notes on new scripts. Gunn added that he's supporting the Batman 2 crew to make sure things run smoothly, waiting for the first cut of Clayface. Can't wait. He says that okaying designs for all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure many things I'm forgetting. And he, said this in regards to Matthew J. Falk. Just curious, what is your average day-to-day schedule / routine like over at DC Studios as co-CEO? So we do get like a kind of a rundown on like what to like kind of expect in regards to all of this. Yeah, I mean, there is that. We got a comic book guy in the hot seat. I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, it seems like we are, getting a bit of a rundown. So in terms of Man of Tomorrow, so the very next movies that we are going to be getting is the next projects we're going to be getting are Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface, as far as we know. So for Supergirl, it is going over the cuts because there's probably at least a bunch of them. And then Lanterns, the many episodes for all of that, which is now going to be coming out in late summer. That's been pretty much confirmed. And then and the marketing for all of those, so we're getting that. So that obviously this doesn't specify on a trailer, even though that's what the headline says. Marketing kind of feeds into that, but it's just like he's just like, we're kind of getting stuff ready, and that's kind of it. And in terms of stuff after the fact, and then Clayface waiting on the first cut of that. And then after that, of course, we're getting into Batman 2 and Man of Tomorrow, and Batman 2 is just kind of being a cheerleader for them, letting them do their own thing. And then you also have Man of Tomorrow, and he's storyboarding. We saw those big stack of storyboards that he posted a couple days ago. And then, depart like just a ton of stuff for Man of Tomorrow, because that's like the big project he's doing in terms of the creative side. This doesn't even count whatever the fuck Peter Safran is doing. Department meetings, scouting, casting, all of that stuff.
And remember, this is just to put it out there. You got to remember, this is all the stuff James Gunn is talking about that is public knowledge.
But he does say reading and making notes on new scripts. I was getting to like for future stuff, reading and making notes on new scripts. So there is that too.
Like he's not listing those by name, even though some of those we know. But we know Wonder Woman and Batman movies are on the way. Whatever's going on with the Teen Titans script, we know there's something in the works there. And then he's hinted at other characters potentially being part of the slate of the DCU coming up too. So, and Creature Commandos season 2, that's probably something that's going to make its way through his office as well. So there's a lot of stuff here that he doesn't hint at, other than everything that he names is stuff is going to be coming out within the next 2 years. Man of Tomorrow, the Batman Part 2, Supergirl, Lanterns, Clayface. They're all projects that are coming. And that's basically the 5 things that the DCU has, or the DC Studios has, over the next couple of years. I mean, there's obviously Creature Commando season 2 and a couple other things, but that are not connected to the DCU. But yeah, it's not surprising that he's providing these updates. I think it's fun to know that he's staying busy, and obviously this is, an ongoing thing where they're in different stages of production with all these projects with Lanterns and Supergirl, one being a movie, the other being a TV show, two very different things, being in post-production. Clayface also now in post-production, although at a much earlier stage. So I think what he's talking about, waiting for the first cut of Clayface, like he does point that out there. I don't know if he's talking about, I don't think they're talking about an assembly cut. They're probably talking about like the first rough cut. And the fact that he's staying as busy as he is I think that's a good sign for those of us who want to be eating good like we have been this year for DC. You can only imagine like Kevin Feige's job is probably this times 10 considering everything they've got going on over there. But Man of Tomorrow
and there's no co-CEO for Kevin Feige either.
Although he has like a whole, he has
a team, but like he's still one head guy versus two head guys.
Right. So. Well, I mean, the structure isn't quite the same because he also, like Kevin Feige has now Brad Winderbaum running Marvel Television. DC Studios is handling television and film. I think they might do a split down the road, like with DC Television or something to that effect, if they have enough of a television output to have it be its own thing. But for the time being, I mean, obviously they have HBO. Like HBO's executive team is a part of everything that goes to HBO, including Lanterns and, Max Originals too now with Peacemaker. So, and whatever is going to come out in the future, that is going to be a Max original. I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore or not. But yeah, I mean, all these projects look exciting. I think the majority, despite the fact that he's doing all of these million different things, I think, like he said himself, the majority of his days are going to be spent prepping Man of Tomorrow. Because as a director of a movie, you basically give your life to that movie for a couple of years. And James Gunn has been writing this thing for almost a year at this point, it seems like. He's been storyboarding it. He's still, I don't know if he's finished writing the final draft of the movie either. So, I don't know if James Gunn wants to take over Star Wars anytime soon, Darkly Derek. But as far as the DCU goes, Man of Tomorrow is going to be his big priority for himself for pretty much, I want to say probably 70% of most days at least. And then some of this stuff is, like he said, he's waiting. Like he doesn't have much to do with Clayface until because like the director of the movie is going to be the one who's going to be going through the revisions. And then once they have a cut that they want to show to the studio, which is James Gunn and Peter Safran are the studio, aka DC Studios, that's when they get to see it. And the Batman Part 2 is just, like he said, he's in a supporting role where he's helping make sure that they're getting all the pieces right. And again, even then it's pretty indirect. I can't imagine James Gunn is like in there with line producers trying to figure out like, all right, we're spending $10,000 on Robert Pattinson's wardrobe for day 50 of filming. Like that's like below his pay grade. So he's probably just more as a consultant working with Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves also is somebody who's doing more than just the Batman Part 2. We know he's producing and be consulting on pretty much anything Batman related, whether it's the Beck's The Batman Epic Crime Saga or otherwise.
Your favorite name, Dan.
Yeah. It's almost like PEX, what would that be? The Batman Epic Crime Saga? The Plastic Man Epic Crime Saga? PEX? PMEX? I don't know. But anyway,
Power Girl Epic Crime Saga.
Power Girl. Oh, Pex. That just takes Pex to a whole different dimension, right? There you go. See, you get it. You get it. Mike Flanagan's doing a million other things. I think he just wrote the script, handed it to James Gunn, and just disappeared. He's gonna get a credit for it, but even then they rewrote some of it. So I don't think Mike Flanagan is as closely engaged with Clayface. But anyway, yeah, James Gunn is a busy man. Not a surprise. I mean, Supergirl, again, he's probably just looking over, as the studio head, as one of the two studio heads, the versions of the movie, because at this point, Supergirl is probably pretty far along, to the point where they're probably not only, reviewing cuts of the movie itself, but also at this point for the trailer of the movie, because we know that Superman dropped its teaser trailer about a month from now, and it came out in July of this year. So it dropped it a month from now, a year ago. So at this point, if you look at Supergirl coming out in June, we should be getting the. I mean, if you go off the same timeline as Superman, we should be getting the Supergirl trailer any day now. And we know that James Gunn's approach hasn't been tied to some big other event, because with Superman, at least, he felt like Superman could be its own thing. Like, drop the trailer on a Tuesday, it doesn't matter. We don't need it to be a Super Bowl trailer. We don't need it to be something that's in front of, Avatar Fire and Ash necessarily. Although it could be, but it doesn't need to be like that. Doesn't need to be where it launches. So, hi, Diane Dre Mosley. Yeah, I mean, next year we'll probably make or break the DCU. I think we've talked about this before. This is a really good point, because pretty much every major project coming out next year, I don't know if Creature Commandos is a part of that yet, season 2 of that, but Lantern, Supergirl, and Clayface, none of those are written or directed by James Gunn. This is where we get to find out how good James Gunn is as a producer, as a co-CEO of DC Studios. Can he help shepherd these things along while not overdoing, aka not micromanaging everything, but also at the same time not being too laissez-faire about it and just letting the filmmakers run wild with their ideas, because again, all of this has to have some level of coherence to it, because it's in the same cinematic universe, but they also want the filmmakers to be expressive and express their own styles. So there's a balance there that they have to strike, something that the MCU, for better or for worse, sometimes it feels like it blends together, but I think some of the best works of the MCU also stand on their own, like the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. So, and that was directed by James Gunn. So we know that he knows how to strike that balance. So hopefully he continues to do that here. But again, when the rubber meets the road, how good is he as a co-CEO of a movie studio versus just being a director, writer, producer of movies? That's what we'll find out, and that's going to be the ultimate test for what is the long-term viability of the DCU. And that's where Peter Safran hopefully will be helpful, because he's been producing movies with, thank you, by the way, he's been producing movies with James Gunn for years, and they're a great partnership. So yeah,
like me
I'm
and
excited.
Dan's like the Peter Safran, I'm like James Gunn. You're like, you understand all the business shit, I'm like the creative art man. I like to think, I like to view it that way. But obviously, we have one more thing to talk about. We have one more thing. It's also in the title. It's Supergirl at CCXP and I believe, Brazilian Comic-Con. But apparently, it's set to have an interactive display, which will recreate a key scene from the DCU film. So apparently, we've gotten some conversations and, all that stuff. We don't know when the first trailer is going to be. We have gotten nothing in regards to that. But the event will showcase a Supergirl interactive booth, and we now have some details on what fans can expect to see. The booth will feature an intergalactic bar with a crypto challenge. Not crypto as in like cryptocurrency, crypto as in the goodest boy. An otherworldly popcorn machine, a Kryptonian speed / strength challenge, and a prize claw machine. If you are unfortunate enough to have read Tom King's Woman of Tomorrow comic, you'll know that the Girl of Steel and her companion Ruthie take a little break from their revenge mission and travel to a space bar for a drink. Here, Kara is confronted by an alien who blames her for her cousin Superman imprisoning his brothers in the Phantom Zone. As you might expect, the altercation doesn't work out so well for the instigator. So it seems like, according to this little exhibition here, I don't know if you get, let me click on this real quick. But it says right here, Supergirl have fun in a new planet, type of activity, interactive game, immersion, exhibition, epic photo, and get ready to venture into Supergirl's intergalactic bar, and it kind of explaining what it says here. And as well as the fact this also says that the first trailer is anticipated to premiere that day
December
as well.
6th. Yeah.
So, Dan, what are your thoughts on this? Does this make you excited on what we're going to see from patrons who are probably going to be filming with their phones of this interactive booth and whatever is posted on like the official, Instagram pages and whatnot. Does that make you super pumped? Or are you just like, this is fucking stupid? Why are we seeing this?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Sidebar. I just see. I don't. I know we didn't talk about it today, but Claudia Black, Stargate SG-1 alum, left Ahsoka. They didn't want to pay her for what she's worth as an actress, but that's unfortunate. Maybe she can go back and work on Stargate, the new Stargate show. Anyway, but as far as this goes, the whole Supergirl at CCXP, December 6th is literally a week from now, next Saturday, essentially. So if that is true, if they are anticipating the trailer to drop at CCXP this year, next Saturday when the booth is going to be up, then that, like Caleb is saying, it's going to be a big big month for trailers. Not only just trailers, but like huge trailers. You're going to get a trailer for Supergirl. You're going to get a trailer for Avatar. Well, not for Avatar. You're going to get a trailer for Avengers Doomsday. You're going to get a trailer for The Odyssey. And I'm willing to bet you're going to get a trailer for a few other big movies next year too. And December 6th would be Enterprising's birthday. That would be amazing. Happy early birthday to you, Enterprising.
Let's fucking go, baby.
So I think if I were a betting man, I would probably bet like $5 on the idea that they would drop a trailer next weekend. And, that's not a lot because I don't think, again, James Gunn feels inclined to drop trailers in conjunction with these other events. But then again, we're only going off of Superman so far, and Superman as a property, as a character is much more popular than Supergirl. And I think it had the benefit of drop the trailer any random Tuesday and people will go see it. It was also because it was the first movie in the new DCU. A lot of people want to know what this thing is going to look like. Supergirl, I think, needs a little more help in that sense because she's technically a bit more of a derivative character of Superman. So she's not, like Supergirl wouldn't exist if Superman was never created, kind of a thing. Maybe she would have existed, but it would have been like, different character, like maybe the S wouldn't be the same. It would be like a second Genesis, but not exactly like, a derivative of Superman, clearly with the same crest, same home planet and all that. And she's not as popular as Superman. And also, this is not a movie being directed by James Gunn. And I know the studio does a lot of the marketing, so yes, James Gunn has a say in all of this. And you got Clayface coming out only a couple of months after that. But so I would imagine that the director of this movie has some say in it, at least the trailer and some of the marketing strategy. But also DC Studios as a whole, I think would be probably remiss to not take advantage of a CCXP, which is the biggest Comic-Con this side of the calendar at this point. Put a trailer out, do the interactive the display. But the fact that they're not really doing a panel, to me, is the other thing that I look at, because if they were doing a panel, I'm like, oh right, they're gonna bring some footage with them. It's a featurette or a trailer. So on that front, I'm just like, like they have an interactive display. They don't really have anybody showing up to talk about this, to drum up noise. So that's really where I sort of look at it and be like, I don't know, like a $5, sure, I'm willing to lose $5 over it, but I'm not quite willing to lose like 100. I would be more inclined to say that they're gonna attach Supergirl trailer, the first one, to one of the big movies that's coming out. Well, I guess there's only really one left at this point, Avatar, Fire and Ash. That's probably more likely. But but I mean, Craig Gillespie is a good director. Yeah,
he's hit and miss. He did I, Tonya, but then he also did Mr. Woodcock or whatever the fuck that was. He did, he did Lars and the Real Girl, but then he also did Cruella. So it's just
funny.
like,
in middle school, I had a teacher called Mr. Laycock, and he definitely addressed that situation first day. So.
I hope so. That's like the main reason I'm seeing this fucking movie.
Dude, we know we're gonna get a Lobo sneak peek in the first trailer. They will not forget that. There's no way they do not show
what
us
I could
that.
see them doing. You know what I could definitely see them doing? It's like
they're gonna do the exact same shot from Aquaman.
We don't see him. We just we see Supergirl like turn around. He's like, and then he just says, "Hey, Bestitch, you fucking ready?" or something like that. And then it cuts, or like the main man is looking for you, and then it cuts to black, and then
I would, you know what I would love? I would love something a little more meta. I would love to see. Oh wait, is there a Mr. Terrific shirt in Walmart? Oh, okay, some kind of Black Friday thing. Okay, here's what I would love to see in a Supergirl trailer. I would love for them to replicate the shot from Aquaman. Remember where he like gets into the submarine and you see him from behind and he does this like turn and then you hear like the guitar riff. I'm like, do that but with Lobo now. I want that shot
Honestly,
repeated.
that would be awesome as well.
That would be.
I mean,
like,
I don't
want
think
that
Craig
shot.
Gillespie would do that, but like I could see them like filming just that for the trailer. Because,
Just for the
like,
trailer.
And
It's not that hard. It's not that
Yeah.
hard. You could just do it as a 4-year like not as a green screen background too. It doesn't need to be a. That would be amazing, right? Because then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's Lobo. Like it's, and then people would just totally just, it would go viral. It's one of those moments. It's designed to go viral because people will just have the graphic ready to fire off, a meme, GIF, whatever. I also would wonder if they're actually going to lean into the whole rated R. The movie itself is PG-13, right? Or do we know if they're?
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be rated R. So
I can't
wonder,
imagine.
like how I don't think there's gonna be a red band trailer at that point. I was gonna say like maybe they do a red band trailer, but if it's not rated R, then it's not gonna matter.
The only one that's gonna be rated R is Clayface. That's rated R.
Yeah.
And then Lanterns might be TVMA, but I can't.
Probably most likely it is an HBO
Yeah.
show. Like it's an HBO show. Like we're gonna they're gonna be bumping uglies at some point. Well, not saying that they're Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan are gonna be bumping uglies, but somebody's gonna be bumping uglies in that show. It's HBO. If they did it on Peacemaker, they're definitely doing it in Lanterns. So,
I mean, a lot of people did it in Peacemaker. That's people.
True. That's true. But John, if you were a betting man, would you be willing to bet that a week from now, December 6th, you're going to be seeing the teaser trailer for Supergirl?
I mean, maybe history repeats itself with a super trailer being released in December. Will it be at the event? Will it be at the event? I don't know.
It would make sense. Yeah, because the budget is similar. I don't think it's as expensive of a movie as Superman was, but it's up there. Like it's got a proper big budget tentpole movie budget, so like a superhero movie budget. So I think to get the returns on it, they got to market the shit out of it, and so yeah, Lanterns is a TV show, so they're gonna have probably the trailer for that coming out maybe a month or two before the show releases, like most TV shows. But for a movie, 6 months still feels a little too far out. But at the same time, a teaser trailer, I think a teaser trailer is not out of the realm of possibility. I would imagine it's coming soon. I just don't know if it's happening next weekend. It might even be out before next weekend. Can you imagine? I think isn't that what they did for Superman? Didn't they release it before one? Or no, that was. No, I think I'm misremembering things. I think there was speculation, but it didn't happen. And then James Gunn was like, I never said that. Like, his typical, saying nothing without saying a lot. Or saying, anyway, like, the way James Gunn plays coy. So, yeah. But Craig Gillespie is not nearly as active on social media. So, I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out soon enough. A week from now, we'll know. Or maybe if it drops next week, we'll know. You guys let us know in the comments. What do you think? How soon are we getting this Supergirl trailer? The teaser trailer, that is. Are we going to get a poster with it? Usually we do. Are we going to get something else before a teaser trailer? Are we going to get like a featurette? They don't really have a panel at CCXP, but, maybe they'll do something else that's completely separate and allows them to kind of create an event around Supergirl itself rather than it being part of another event. Or maybe they'll just drop the trailer before Avatar Fire and Ash. So let us know what you think in the comments, and then we'll place our bets and see who wins. It's always fun.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all we got for you guys. But the ride's not over yet, in the words of our local actor. My man. Well, he says "my man" too. That it's fine. I barely remember that movie anyway. It's fine.
There's also like there's two different cuts of it, and the lines are different. So I don't know.
Whatever it is. Anyway, so ride's not over yet. My man. We're gonna get into Fancast Friday. So Give us a few minutes and we will get into that soon. God, this was a long
You know what
show.
you guys can do in that time? The poll is up. Let me actually see if I can put the link. So Tier List Tuesday. The poll for Tier List Tuesday is up. The link is pinned in the live chat because you could probably not remember all of that. So if you go to the live chat, it's pinned in there. It's also in the community post section on YouTube. Go vote for Tier List Tuesday while you wait for Fancast Friday to come up, which you guys voted for as well. And then we'll be back in a few minutes, and then we'll be fan casting the movies that Edgar Wright could direct in the DCU, which, by the way, he did say he's open to working in the DCU with James Gunn if it's for the right project. What will be that right project? John's got a few ideas. We'll talk about them. And we can't wait for you guys to join us in a few minutes to do that. And thank you for joining us on this show. Hit the like button, please. It helps us out. It helps, the algorithm gods of YouTube pick our show and distribute it to more folks. And that's how we grow our community, our family, as it were. So hit subscribe and hit the notification bell, too. That way you know when we go live.
But until then, we'll see you for Fancast Friday. But for now, be blessed.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Fuck Jeff Snyder.